Why can't I hear you?
You on like a 5-game win streak?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright, guys. So, yeah. We got this running. We got a 5-game win streak. I forgot to show
Alright,
guys. Oh, I'm
nice
guarding
shot.
Deshaun.
Who's guarding the
Alright,
55 sharp?
Oh, he's guarding him. KLM. Oh my god.
Oh hell, are you
guys
for real?
guarding him. Yeah, you're guarding him.
Oh my goodness, that's disrespectful.
KLM, just ISO. Just ISO. Yeah, that's easy.
What the
Whoa.
fuck, man? I'm done.
That's all. Oh
What?
my god, yeah. We cannot lose a win streak as I start live streaming.
You see the
Yeah.
whack shit that just happened to me?
Yeah, don't bring it in the paint like that. 'Cause you're gonna be. Oh, I thought you just alley-ooped me.
Nah,
Right here.
I want you to hit a 3.
Oh, that's all. That my bar lagged.
Wow, shit.
Don't start tweaking me now, 2K.
Let's get
Oh,
it.
thank God.
Cash.
Thank you.
2K lag. Alright, they lag my bar. Yo, right here. You telling me to throw alleys? Come on. You keep telling me to throw alleys and you want to throw them.
Okay, guys, don't throw alleys. Okay.
That's why. Oh, thank you.
Get that.
That's easy.
Good dunk.
You guys know I'm using my shot creator. KLM using a slasher. All Hall of Fame badges.
And I'm using my glass.
Shot creator has 3 Hall of Fame badges. He has ankle breaker, tireless scoring, difficult shots, and gold minute Jedi gold teardropper. Green doesn't have any badges since he doesn't use his dudes, but his dude is.
My dude's a beast.
Yeah, I don't have
KLM's
any
a slasher.
badges.
KLM's a 89 slasher with all Hall of Fame badges with his grand badge. Hit me.
Good
Get off
dunk.
me.
Oh, you almost missed that shit.
It's because he fouled him.
Yeah. If he didn't follow me, that would have been straight in.
Oh, hell no.
His jump shot is so
Okay.
ugly.
I
But the most
know.
ugly is
Why don't I get a dunk there? Like, he's a fucking small ass dude.
he's a
Look at his
50.
handles, how slow that shit is.
That's all. I was gonna say, you gonna let a 55 sharp do that to you? I thought we were switching. I'm trying to. Oh, he ain't playing. Let me. Contact. Oh, it didn't work. I tried to get a contact. Who's in my stream? Comment your name. Whoever's in
Oh,
your stream.
someone's in your stream.
Hey, are you playing? You're a 50. Hey, are you playing like you're a 55? You are playing. How am I playing like a 55? I'm confused. You haven't even watched the whole stream. I'm so confused. Who's
My fault,
Swagalicious
bro.
Productions? Who is this man? Swagalicious Productions? Oh, because what I'm wearing? My bar keeps lagging every time I shoot. Why?
Good dunk, man.
That was a full white, but still, my bar still lagged every single
This
time. I
glass
shoot.
cleaner putting in work.
I love using my glass.
No way. What?
Whoa.
Damn, he got that long range.
Oh, that's contact.
You thought.
Oh, hit that.
Give me that contact. Oh, I keep trying to contact. But it won't go up for
You
the
ain't gonna
animation.
get no contact dunk.
Yes, I am. I'm going for on this 55 since I run straight around the sharp.
Get the fuck out of here, that Westbrook package, huh?
Oh, he's a sharp.
Had to
What
play
did
out
you
on
think he was?
No, I just forgot he was a sharp. I didn't know. I knew he was
him.
someone.
Are you gonna get back on your man or what? I'll get on him.
I got it.
Get on. Just chill out. I'm not switching now because as soon as I leave.
Alright.
Hey,
Good. That retard. Let him down there. This fucking retard. Look at his little alien ass head. Look at that shit.
Oh, give me a contact. Oh. The pass.
What
Oh, I
the
did not try to
fuck?
put that up.
That shit was whack, but
Yeah.
I'll take it.
As long as it's going in.
If I didn't have teardropper, that
Alright,
was
we gotta clamp up on this sharp.
Alright.
I don't even have to worry about my fucking man.
Well, he can make
Wow.
a wide open. I got boards.
I don't care. I'd rather have 2 than 3.
Look at that. Easy.
But it's not they gonna pass it to.
We're gonna hang on, look at the score. That was the fastest
Oh.
game ever.
Marlon.
Oh, he got me jumping. That should have been out, but he got me jumping.
It's whatever. We'll look at the score. Don't take no dumb shots just because we're up. Let's win the game.
He pushed
Wow.
me. My controller even vibrated. He pushed me.
It's like an MJ push off on defense.
Basically. Oh no. I
Bro.
Alright, it's alright. We'll just take paint. No, we don't.
What the
No,
fuck,
I
man?
just passed that. You had me open. Oh no, if they get it.
You were too far, vibe.
No, I was starting to run. You have to throw it after, not after I get down court.
Just no threes. Vibe, that means you. You're a guy.
Well, I can't move whenever
Yeah,
I try
right.
to run. Oh,
Hell no.
What?
There's no way.
He's 55
There's no
over.
way.
Alright, we just need easy. You had me wild. What?
Bruh, you selling.
What?
How'd you
How?
step out?
I never get bored. There's
No
there's
threes.
supposed to be border. There's always borders right there. I'm stuck. No, I'm stuck. Oh my god, I was stuck. Oh, thank God. Easy layup. Why didn't you cut?
Cuz.
Oh
What
no.
the fuck?
Maybe
Alright,
the three
we good.
roll. Oh my God. Alright, good. Now if they get a three, we're straight.
Yo,
Oh, I got
I
so
thought
scared.
we were fucking selling, bro.
Yeah.
Holy shit, that was scary as fuck.
They
No.
Alright, he brought in the paint. We're good. He's taking it safe.
Alright, we just need to
Cannot
score.
get a three.
No, I'm not going in like that. That shit's whack.
Oh
Oh my god.
Don't play the three.
I see you.
No,
I'm
What
done.
the fuck?
he keeps doing the same move.
Give me that block,
Let's get it.
nigga.
Go.
Give me that
Put it up.
fucking
Wait,
block,
wait,
bro.
wait. Give it to no, please.
Let's get
Give me
it.
that, nigga.
Off the court.
Give me
Off
that,
our court.
nigga.
Off our court.
Deshaun, you saw.
What's
Deshaun,
up with you?
you.
What's up with you?
You got blocked on that easy.
You
What's up with
saved
you,
us.
You're a sellout, Deshaun. You got
Fuck out of
blocked.
here, nigga. Get blocked. I'll take you in the
God.
paint all day, bro.
Deshaun.
Fuck out
Bro.
of here. This is my court. Get
that
the
was
fuck
a
out of here.
beast. Oh my God, I was about
That's
to get dropped.
clutch.
Oh my God.
Alright, are you
y'all
still
got
gonna
me
talk shit
scared.
to me like that?
Dead. Deshaun, how you gonna sell your team out? You went 5 for 10.
Bro, how much I drop on y'all head? Okay, I'll
He
take
did.
10. I got 10 on your head and blocked off the shit.
Well, he carried. He had 12. Bro, you saved us. Why is not your way doing?
That was clutch as fuck.
Bro, that 55 hit that contested mid range.
That was
You got
fake,
so
bro.
lucky.
That had me
Hey,
tight
you got
as
the
hell.
best in the whole.
Oh yeah, we do. We're on the
Bro,
6th
I
game. You
cannot
start
believe.
speaking.
I just
We're on the
fucking
6th
blocked
already?
that shit.
Bro, you saved us.
I know, y'all were selling.
Oh,
You
wait,
went
am
out
I
of
here?
bounds.
I didn't try. No, I never.
You
I
went out
always
of
get
bounds
borders
like
right
3
there.
straight times.
No, I
Yeah.
always
Why did
get
that? You
borders.
would have been
No, it
fucking
was
yelling
2.
at me and shit.
No, cause normally I
No,
get a
that's
border
true.
right
That's true, Marlon. We didn't even yell at you, but if we did it, you would
there. No, I
have
said
yelled at
that
us.
to him
Exactly.
because he
Well,
has
listen,
badges.
just
No,
calm
and he
down.
missed an easy
It
layup.
don't matter if I have badges.
I
Everybody makes mistakes,
stopped.
but I can't
No,
make
but
everything.
I stopped. I stopped saying it.
I know. I'm just saying I can't make everything. The badges aren't fucking. They aren't perfect.
Oh,
Yeah.
I just hit my hand under the remote.
It don't matter. I just saved us with
Yeah,
that
don't
clutch ass
matter.
block. That was clutch as fuck.
Bro, why are you passing
Oh,
us?
nigga,
I was open.
please don't sell. He's a
What do you
big
mean,
man.
please don't stop? I was wide open. Oh, I'm gonna get screwed. He's a glass. Oh, but I could sauce him up. He can't keep up with me. I'm too fast. He's playing the paint right here.
I know. I was trying to set you up. Calm down. Don't
Oh,
sell.
I'm
Wow,
sleep. Don't start making me sell now, 2K.
bro. Come
That was
on,
wide
man.
open
You gotta-
off the dribble. This glass can't do nothing like that. Come on, he a 3-point
Hell.
specialist. I got bored. I'm a horse. Oh, my fault, and I hit
Go,
X.
get that. You got
Nah, you
it.
went
Let's get
backwards.
it. Let's get it.
We ain't selling
You
out.
just
We
need
ain't
to
losing.
clamp up on your man. It's gonna be hard to switch.
I'm playing the
in
paint.
game.
He's a glass. He gonna set screens though.
You got it. You got that. You got that. You got that. Good D. Good D.
You're on his ass.
He can't shoot like that. Ah, he can shoot mid range. He can shoot mid range.
Oh yeah, I forgot
Last
shooting.
cleaners can. Nah, you ain't gonna make me go out of bounds like that. Just hit that. You got it. You got it. Good shit.
I love my jump shoot.
I love winning games.
Me too.
I don't know.
I love getting blocks and then fucking scoring at the other
It's
end.
been forever since I've actually been on a streak over 10.
Yeah.
It's been over 2 months since I've been on a streak.
Yo, hit that.
over-
Come on. No.
Water. Ow, that's a hot spot. I made up for it.
Oh,
Oh my god!
just take a good shot. That shit was fucking
No, that was a
trash.
hot spot though. That was a hot spot.
I know, but you like faded all the way back like that.
Because I'm a shot creator.
I
Want me to
know,
shoot
but that
standing?
wasn't a leaner.
shoot
That
that
was like a
standing if you
fucking
want.
Kobe.
He said that was like a
Kobe.
That was a
Oh,
Kobe
that's a
Bryant.
double test. I got boards. Well, I'm a
How are you
horse.
getting
The
rebounds?
past-
Yo,
No,
hit me.
because I'm a horse. The whole streak I'm in a horse.
Like, nigga, I've been
horse
dropping
more, I think every game, man.
everybody.
I think every game
I
I've
just
done.
been scoring.
You're a glass. You ain't gonna do nothing special. I tried to make the animation where I hold up the L2, and then I tried to spam one more now.
Just spam the shit out of him. Don't
What
let
do
him
you
take
think
you in
I
the
was
paint.
trying to do? He can't do anything. Look at this.
He just
Oh,
got
no,
a
don't let me
contact
start
dunk
lagging.
out the ass.
I was about to start lagging. I started lagging for a second.
Oh no.
I got
Oh,
you.
no.
Oh, hell no.
Don't start.
Wait, you're lagging?
I was for a little bit. I'm back though.
Alright, we good,
Okay,
we good, we
I'll
good.
take that shit all day.
I've been lagging left and right, but it's not
I
waiting
thought
for.
I was like, why the fuck aren't you hitting that open three? Stop passing me the ball.
I was spamming. Actually, I didn't want it to say waiting for opponent. Then I would have ran out of bounds.
Oh,
So I was spamming
True.
X.
come on, you got the clamps on him. He's slow as fuck. Easy.
Yeah.
Come on. Last one, you scared, yeah.
Oh,
Good
get
block.
that shit out, son.
I blocked that.
Oh, come
What
on.
are you
I thought he was
doing?
gonna keep cutting.
How many
I
times
was
do I have to
cutting,
tell
I
you
got
guys?
stuck.
No alley
You said it
oops.
once. Now, what do you mean how many times? You
If I
said
said it once, no, if I say it once, you shouldn't just listen then.
Well, I didn't hear you the first time.
I'm not even gonna lie, I got stuck. I would have been in the paint.
That's why alley-oop did, because normally you say alley
I
right
know,
there.
it's all good, it's all good. We chilling now. There's no.
You do a safe dunk every single time.
It
I
works.
just noticed
Yeah.
I just noticed that.
That shit works. He's been eating in the paint. You
Have you
stay
ever got
eating.
blocked now?
No.
No one can shoot from
I
left
got-
side. You never have an automatic hotspot from the left side. You always have to earn it. And no one works on it. Oh, I wish you could shot
I don't know. Get that shit out, bro.
that.
My
Everybody
hand went
automatically has a
straight.
right side hotspot.
Can someone like stay close?
Whenever I go up and pass it to me, I'm always gonna cut back.
Water.
Bro,
Oh my god! I
you
run
stay
always
doing that.
run straight around him, but it
That's what
always
you
goes
always
out.
do.
Bro, you just pass it.
See,
Okay.
look. He did what I did. So now we're
I'm a
good.
cut.
Pass it and then be like,
Oh no, I see.
what the fuck,
He blocked
bro?
me. He blocked me. I hit X. My
You
player
getting
passed
mad
it.
lucky right now. We could be up by like fucking
Yeah.
5. Like, you lucky as fuck. You can stay getting these turnovers.
Oh, I was lagging.
What
That's
the?
it.
Nigga.
How
Nigga.
did mid-range
Nigga.
die? Oh
Bruh.
my god. Why can't I hit anything with my mid-range dead
I
eye?
didn't. Hell nah, bro. Did they keep selling for you? I like this though. Why
don't
do you
like it.
cock the fuck back, bro? Stop doing that shit. Look at you. Look at you. You about to. Oh
Why? He wouldn't shoot my red.
What are you
Swear,
doing,
it didn't touch my
bro?
left stick. I was holding square and it made my
mine.
character
I couldn't
die.
do nothing about mine.
I couldn't do anything about mine. I was not tapped. I was holding square and it
Get
made
the
my
fuck
character
out of
go
my
up.
paint, bro. Get the fuck out of my paint, nigga. What's up?
I'm the one getting boards by.
I was
got
playing
6
defense
boards.
too. What the hell are you talking about?
I just said I was getting boards. I never said you were playing defense. I wonder.
This big dude
glass
think he
again.
got handled or something. Like he's slow.
I know he's been dribbling dribbling a lot.
Facts. Come on. I'm not even gonna jump. See, when you're that big, it's just too fucking hard to block them.
Yeah.
Dunk over everybody.
Especially on the standing dunks.
Exactly. It's annoying.
Oh, I thought I was about to hit the thing.
You're
Why can I hit anything?
You were straight selling this game.
I
yeah.
can't hit, but I won't shoot him, man. I won't shoot him.
My guys
Dunk that.
I'll do that easily. But I'm not gonna shoot no when we're all up close.
Yeah.
Or at least fades, I won't. And for some reason, I'm missing all my shots.
We need
He's
a
gonna drop
stop.
most of the plays. Because he's a glass.
I'm not trying to get dropped off.
Put that up.
Oh my goodness.
You're
I was wide open, bro.
Bro, you don't hit nothing.
Oh.
Cash.
Bro, I was wide open at mid-range, bro.
Oh.
I'll just stand in the corner.
Fucking sleep.
When's your AI coming?
But yet I still get more boards than you.
We fucking choked.
Well, at least I'm
But at least you're what? You don't score.
I'm scoring. Yeah, I am scoring right now.
You're scoring because you're a big man, so that's easy.
Yeah, but I'm saying at least I'm not selling.
Because you're wide, because you're a big man, so you can't really sell. How are you gonna sell if you don't shoot? How are you gonna sell if you don't shoot?
Because I'm not shooting. Then you don't shoot. Go into the paint.
I'm missing my easy shots.
Well, because you're
shots.
selling. That's what I'm saying.
I always make these shots. That's why I'm shooting them. But for some reason, all of a sudden, I miss them.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, they shine. You ready? We can run threes. Are you ready to run threes?
How are we gonna run threes?
How many fours?
Alright, let's run fours.
All right.
I'm waiting for him to join the squad.
Marlon, do you like my walk?
You actually got it. Are you joining? Because for some reason, everyone's like going around the squad. Alright, hurry up, hurry up. Someone's starting to hop on. Now you're just trying to get on, I think. Are you gonna join? Yeah, everyone invite Deshaun.
I can't.
Wow.
I'm walking.
Yeah, I think Nair's friends are gonna do it. Deshaun, are you gonna join? He's. Oh my god.
Nigga,
Someone's gonna hop on this. Because Nair's already on and his friends are probably here.
who the fuck is not here?
He's my friend.
Why is he inviting me?
I don't know. Deshaun, you gonna join? Come on, just join. You're running fourth. No. What? I'm done sending squad invites. I literally sent at least 6 squad invites. Why does my ear always join me? He's been joining me a lot recently. We gonna drop these dudes off.
Yeah.
Bro, I dropped mine.
Oh, they have a short dude, a medium, a little taller, and the tallest. They have
Yeah,
like a perfect combo.
Well, we have like a medium, a little taller than a medium, a little taller than a
No, we have
medium.
a medium, another
You're not
medium.
short.
They probably got all
I'm
different
talking about
archetypes.
Deshaun,
Oh.
B. Who am I guarding?
This shit.
I'm
Right.
guarding 87.4.
88 stretch.
Every one of these niggas can shoot.
Oh yeah.
Oh great, everyone can shoot.
Y'all gotta play some help D, and y'all gotta communicate.
Communicating.
Communication.
Work so hard, forgot how to make kitten. My knee hurts.
Uh-oh, so my nigga Dora.
I'm guarding this. Why do I gotta guard a small ass nigga when I'm one of the tallest in the team? That doesn't make sense.
Actually, I think you're the shortest.
No, Deshaun does.
No,
Deshaun does. DB does.
I'm 6'6". I'm not sure.
Alright, make him travel, make him travel. Step up,
Nah, just
make him
fucking-
travel.
Don't even
Oh,
reach.
make him travel. You don't reach, you just make him travel. You just push him. Like this. Oh, he made me jump ball. I just want to push him. Normally, sometimes people just fake
You
it.
pushed that nigga alright.
I
Hit
pushed
me
him.
with that fucking bitch. Now we gotta share the rock. No ISO in this bitch.
Yeah, how can you ISO
Don't run out of bounds. Remember, there's back court too. That's something that you.
Oh, yeah, I forgot that there's back courts. Right here, oh, I had the back door.
My fault.
Right here. You're
Oh, no
he's a
way!
short. He's a short.
Yo, is that the nigga that I
animation, 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 animation.
Emanation?
Good thing my dude is the one passing me. Bro, this court looks
Yo,
so
I'm
bigger
sorry.
than threes. How do people say it's the same size? Like, look at the size. No homo.
Give me a steal on that fucking retarded ass looking dude.
This nigga said, look at the size.
Because that's what she said, bro.
I said no homo.
That ain't no homo. When the girl be telling you that shit,
Oh, dunk on him. Oh, come on, you should have got my paint.
dunk on a nigga, dunk on him. Yeah, you better be
He's
selling.
selling.
You stay selling. He almost made another fucking court.
What would you have done if you would have made that? I would have screamed.
I would have
Why
shot
not?
my
I would have
fucking self.
quit.
I would have fucking shot myself.
He said I would have shot myself.
Give me that dunk! Oh no! I would have dunked to the whole team.
Oh, my fault, they shot. Go for it.
He's just in the corner.
Bro, the superstar
would've-
fell on the ground.
My nigga, I would have dunked the whole fucking team. I'm gonna take that shit. That was lit.
Dang. Bro, the superstar fell down. Like, it got the dunk,
I
the
know.
contact dunk animation. Cut. Oh, you have done my cut. I don't
Shit,
get
I did
blocked.
not. We fucking hand off to each other. What the hell is that?
That's what always
Nice.
happens to me. No way he's gonna make that full court pass. He's a stretch. No, he can have
I
breaks
guess he's
on-
a
that's not
playmaker. I guess.
No, that's a stretch. Oh,
I
you're
know.
saying that, I guess.
Yeah, he
Right
plays
here.
like a playmaker. Look at him. This fucking dude. Dunk on him. Dunk on him. I'm actually
hang on,
pissed
hang on,
off.
hang
I
on.
didn't get that contact dunk, man. That
Hang on,
shit
hang on,
was
hang on.
whack.
I love how he's still talking about the contact dunk.
I'm
Yeah.
running small forward.
I'm pissed off. bro.
Hey, Alam, you're running point guard.
I
Not the
know.
point
Too nice.
Help. I got your name.
I am a point
You
guard.
jumped the extra few times.
No, I was spamming it.
Alright, shot clock. We're ready to I got box off.
Wow,
that's
this
all.
nigga would hit.
Oh, I thought
That's
that was
on.
it.
Oh, look, give me that out of bounds, bitch ass niggas.
Let's. La, 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 la.
I'm point guard, nigga.
Yo. Oh, you see me? Good. Full court IQ. Oh, I was about to step out.
Oh, hit that! Bang bang in your mom's
Oh, I got
face.
the IQ.
Why do you
I
have
almost stepped out
that?
of bounds. That's
Why do you have that jump shot?
It's green.
That's ugly as fuck. I'm not even gonna lie.
But it's green. Nair has it.
Get.
Wait, hold on. Is that a custom?
How is it random if it's custom?
Oh, I think he's just clicking random stuff.
Oh.
Right here, cut. Right here? Oh. I don't think I've ever gotten blocked with my move. Oh, no.
What in the fuck?
I'm a horse. I'm a horse.
Goaltending. What in the fuck?
This still went in, too. So you know me. Hey, Sean, you selling us.
How? What is he?
Oh my god. Don't start this, Kermit the Frog. What, literally? She...
Kermit the Frog? Who is you talking to?
Shoot. When I tell you this, Anna?
What? That nigga was
What?
contested.
Kermit the Frog. I'm telling you.
See,
Why is your sister always trying to be like, I'm gonna fry you?
Wait, what'd you say?
Nah, I'm talking to your brother or your cousin or whatever. I don't care.
Boy, you better care. And it's my cousin.
Okay.
Oh, so it's the other black nigga.
That's a girl.
Oh,
All black. Look at my nigga.
your
She got
cousin.
so close so fast.
I'm done, son.
Wait, I couldn't tell if that was a boy or a girl.
I think it was a boy.
Oh.
Oh, I tried
I
to
think that was a fucking girl.
No, I actually
Wait,
not
he
even
just-
joking. I can
He
tell.
tried to switch the game. He
That
just
was a
switched
fucking
genders.
girl.
No, I actually
way
didn't
that
know.
wasn't.
Kermit the Frog sounds like a boy, I swear.
Last time I
Uh-oh.
checked, it was a girl. It was called Hermit the Frog.
Oh, her.
Dude,
I got
stay
more.
shooting him.
Bro, Deshaun, you gotta pass.
He couldn't even pass on that one.
Deshaun, pass the ball. You missed too.
With the two dudes wide open on the fast break.
Yeah.
Deshaun is legit 3 for 6, and they're all contested. He just got lucky to get another one.
My nigga stay doing that shit.
Bro, I'm always on this cut. Get off
You
me.
always- Your nigga always throws his back like that. What is he doing?
No, because that's whenever they contest from the behind the back, that's what he does.
Give me that.
Hey, what was that? The ball like flew.
That was a tip.
I know, I
Someone's
hit
in your
that shit.
stream.
Oh, comment your name. Comment your name so I know who you are, fam. What? Deshaun, you a sellout. You were selling us out. You were shooting those contested shots. No, that was like 4. What do you mean one contest? What do you mean one? Comment your name. Yeah, all your shots were contested. You just got lucky. No, one was open, and that was at mid range when I passed it. I got this. Yeah, you shot it and missed. But it's still, you still shooting contested shots. That's luck.
I'm lagging.
No, because you over here talking about you're wide open and people not passing the ball.
Yeah, for real.
Frizzle,
Look at
like
that.
Miss
Look at that. I'm
Frizzle.
wide open on the fast break.
Dang, I'm
Look,
always
you
wide
don't
open on
even
these fast breaks. No one passes it.
I tried to pass it to KML or something.
Yeah.
I didn't want to pass it. I don't want to be
All the way like Mama. That's easy.
Oh my god.
Shut up, Deshaun. You can't talk. You can't talk, Deshaun. That was my first bad shot. You can't talk, honestly. And?
What was that?
Well, that's easy. That's game.
Why'd you wait?
Oh, because I didn't know that I got the ball. I thought he's passed it out. In New York, I'm there.
The guy left.
What kind of tool?
I see you.
That's a race that doing it good. Wait, no, he didn't do it. In New York, helicopter.
I gotta look at my live stuff.
Oh, my back.
My
What
neck.
did you do for the workout? And you get it on. Bro, you can get that grind. You only need 7% more.
Right.
Grabs.
That's a lie. I don't.
Alright.
Sure.
What are you doing? I'm not gonna ask. Honestly, I'm not gonna ask. Let me know when we start. Yeah.
Our game started.
Alright, I'm coming.
What are you doing?
Ask. Your mom just was out there dancing.
Start. You want me to do it for you?
A player sent an image. Oh, he sent the.
That was last time. You couldn't even, but you wanted to get on the mic. You would have said none of this gonna happen.
I'm guarding the slasher. I'm guarding an 87 slasher.
Posterizer, son. My dude's not even
Hey,
playing.
type in your name there.
Oh, yeah, we're going to school.
Speak English.
Hey, you got me. Right here. That's that down court IQ. I hit 30. Let's go.
Really?
Mm-hmm. That's what's up, you guys.
What happened?
20 more, and I get my giveaway.
So wait like another
down
couple
court.
years.
I'm asleep.
I lagged.
I was wide open.
I was made that if my bar never lagged. Thank you guys for sub.
It's like if someone says, "Oh, they subbed," you can just look at your live sub count.
I don't even know how you got there. I could just check my history.
No, I'm just
Okay.
saying you could just look here. I'm talking
Give me
about
that.
now.
What's up? Comment your name. Whoever's in. Comment your name.
I know. They stay sending screens.
This isn't even my man. They got mismatch. I'm asleep. Yo, comment your name.
blocked
That's
it.
why I didn't touch it. I didn't know if it was out on us or them.
I blocked it.
Oh. Seconds. Don't let him pull that. Oh my
Whose
goodness.
man was that?
He's a shooter. You can't let him hit that.
Why am I giving today shot? Or you know he passed the ball. Like, oh, I tried to cut. Water. You say wide open. Alright, good. I was just saying.
I thought he bricked that too.
That's what I thought. I was about to say anyways. Guys, hit that sub button. You already know.
Let's
Hashtag
go.
50K.
Let's get it. Yo, we just dropped everybody off. Let's drop them off too.
We gonna start streaking in fours. The highest win streak is 80, I think. Yeah.
Humble young boy out
See, look, that's how you
DC.
pass down court.
Out of DC.
Comment your name using my stream.
And sub to Emblem Designer. You already know, plug every
Day, bro.
yeah, it's every day, bro.
Oh, I almost stepped out. Good. I don't know how they're not blocking you, but good dunk.
He never gets blocked on that.
Yeah, because he's a 7'3" class. Unlike Shamar making a 6'11" class.
I pick up.
That's defense.
Get
Good
that
block.
out.
Send his stuff back to slavery.
I don't know why anyone tries to take it to the paint with the 7-3.
Because they think that,
That
they're
makes
all
no sense.
animation. Oh, I'm back.
They think they nice with it.
My fault. You try.
Give me that. Give me
Yo,
that.
full court vision. Wait, no, don't pass that. Cool, right here. Right here, Deshaun. Oh, y'all had me.
Sorry.
Oh no, my fault. But that's the water though.
Don't say my fault. You cashed out.
That was a mid-range.
Yeah, for real. Don't do that again.
My fault. I was picking up.
My fault. I played good defense. My fault. I played good D again.
My fault.
I got
my
you on
fault,
that.
I made my easy shot.
Somebody get. Yeah, what's up with it?
That's too easy, yo.
Wait, hold on. I play help defense because somebody's wide open, but I get defensive breakdown. Makes sense. What the hell is that? Come on now.
That's how you know 2K is broke.
Yeah, I get leave assignment and defensive breakdown.
If you're 5'7" sharp, if you're 5'7" sharp and a glass cleaner gets a rebound, it will say allow offensive rebound. I swear it does.
Yeah, I know. That's dumb. Like, come on. What am I supposed to do? Personal foul.
That should be green.
How do you miss a wide open layup?
It wasn't wide open. He was right behind me testing me. It did make me break my back.
Yeah, that's what she said.
That's all. We're still winning.
You had a good lead. Now we just choking.
We're still winning, so it really don't matter. I got you on that
Doesn't
screen.
because
Pick and roll, pick and roll, pick and roll. Good
I
pass.
see you.
I told you that pick and roll is too strong. Pick and roll IQ. They're cool.
Oh shit. That's in.
Oh, no,
Never
it's
mind.
not.
I got bored. Give me that.
Well, me and KLM got that chemistry.
Facts.
Oh, I totally don't
Yo.
exist.
What?
I just don't exist.
No, on fours.
Nigga, we stay raping on threes. You already know you're part of that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
on threes, but me and KLM got that fours chemistry.
Yeah.
Oh, that's all.
No.
That's defense.
Step out.
I'm getting
Shit.
screens.
It's all good.
Till I get my grand back.
It's hard to get green.
I got you on that.
Oh, that's a steal.
I made him pick up. Wow. It's all good. Look at that. Ah,
You
what's up?
see me every time, KLM.
I
Every
know.
single time you got me on that chemistry. That's all.
What?
Alright.
Now
Listen, we only need one more point. Come on.
KLM. Good pass.
Look
Let's
at
get
it.
it.
Look at
KLM, we
it.
got
What?
that chemistry, bro.
What's up with
Yep.
it?
Me and KLM got that full court chemistry.
4
Wait, what
assists
I
and
was
I'm a
5'7".
4 assists, bro. Get
Oh,
it.
1-for-1.
I had three assists.
CP3 out here.
Guess who had 0 assists? Dejan. The only person, the glass cleaner had more assists than me.
Oh, the glass cleaner was putting work in on them blocks.
Who? You heard
Nope.
it? I didn't.
It was like a...
Oh, we're Christian rookie.
Come on, who's next? Who's next? Oh, these little bums. I'm catching bodies. Yo, let me catch a body on Nair. Let me catch a body on him.
Yo, KLM. Let's keep the chemistry going.
What?
KLM, let's keep the chemistry going.
Facts. Let's keep it up.
No, they glitched it, I think.
Nope.
Oh, no, they didn't.
Yo, I'm not trying to go back to school.
Who's guys in that year?
I hope I am. Why am I dude almost off the screen?
Hit options to see who you're guarding. Hanak, you guarding Nair.
Damn it, I want
Got
Nair.
this.
Do you guys
Why
even know who
is
Nair
a
is?
glass clean? Yo, remember that little the 55
He's back.
The
It's the
55 is back.
alien.
That's the dude who hit it in my mouth.
Alien looking
Yeah.
ass.
I'm guarding him. Let me catch a body on that little dude.
Hanak, you got a body Nair, honestly. And me and KLM got that kind of chemistry.
I couldn't see, nigga.
No, I'm lagging. Don't pass me the ball.
You what?
Oh, I'm lagging. Oh.
Why you out of bounds?
I wasn't out of bounds.
That's fucking stupid. Can this dude shoot? Nah, these dudes are ass. We don't have to worry about them. Except that dude, he could shoot.
They're setting screens.
You gotta step out on him, he could shoot, you know.
They're screens.
What
Sorry.
the hell? I'm right in front of you, bro.
Bye, blacked out.
This ain't even my man. Why am
Someone invite Bye back.
Somebody gotta call. I'm done, bro. Come
Bro,
on.
whose man is that?
I don't know. Cover him.
Let me check.
What the fuck, bro?
That's vibes, man. Someone invite Vi back to the party.
We're finna lose if we do that.
Yeah.
We're really gonna get dropped off by these bums.
Is someone messing with your Wi-Fi or something?
No, because it would have affected me.
Come on, we gotta clamp up.
Yo, I'm lagging. I'm lagging so hard. Oh, yeah.
Yo, hit me.
I'm getting messed up.
What the? I didn't try and shoot
Invite me
that.
back to the party.
I
No one
still
wants
made
to. We're
it.
going to lose the game.
What happened?
No, Vibe's telling me to invite him.
My broadcast got ended. Hold up, did they tell some Wi-Fi?
Somebody gotta cover him, bro.
It's Vibe's guy.
No. Why is he not on him?
Because he's lagging.
Not for me.
Oh my goodness, I'm done.
If we get a couple stops, we're good.
Good shit. Just keep hitting threes. Don't let them hit threes. That shit's whack.
Alright, either we leave that guy open or we leave Nair open. Because I can guard that guy if you really want me to.
I'm good for a little bit.
Let's get it.
Fuck off me. Fuck out of here. Bitch ass. That fucking Jordan dunk. Yeah, what's up with
What?
it?
Can you invite me? I'll guard your man.
No, it's fine. If we get a 3, if we get a stop and a 3. No, he didn't quit. He lagged out. His grade, sorry. His grade.
The lag affected my grade, of course.
I'm trying to. Fuck, I tried passing to you.
You guys are gonna cry.
I got it.
Hit
Hit
that.
me. Oh, never mind. Get that. Yo, look at that. Wow. How do you miss?
You know, if you hold the PSM button, it's easier to invite because you can just do that.
Yeah, get a new jump shot. At least the AI can play defense. I got on a screen.
Sorry,
Just
get
get
that
it.
shit out.
I guess I can't join my own party.
You thought you were gonna dunk on me. You can't do that shit.
That's a steal, yeah.
No.
Alright, let's get it. Come on. Great, he's back.
Who?
Coops, there's a guy in my stream.
You know, if you hold this and then go to my name, it's faster. I'm just saying, like, when you score or something, because then it doesn't take up.
Hell no. Oh my goodness.
Lol,
How do you get
I'm
rebound?
playing with Vibe.
He doesn't know that.
Oh, Marlon.
You got that. You better hit that this time.
Alright. We
If you
need
would have hit
just
the last one, it would have been 17.
we need to stop in a 3.
Please get. Oh,
my gosh.
wow, that was our chance. Get that out, bro. I stay blocking everybody. Yup. Go out. Hit
Let's
that.
get it. Let's get
Let's
it.
go. I stay getting blocks, bro.
That's what we need.
That spark.
Let's go.
Let's go.
You guys are getting so lucky.
We both got grand bags.
Yeah.
All right, let me get this. Let me get this. I'll set y'all up.
Alright.
I'll try at least.
Oh, you want
Oh, look at that.
water?
Hit that. You better not miss. Wow.
Cash out AI? Shoot that! What are you doing?
Hit that.
Come on.
Green.
Let's get
There
it.
you
That
go.
was a green. I can
You
tell.
keep selling, bro. I'm not even gonna lie. What are you doing?
Just don't let them make a 3.
Like, I'm gonna buy Dick Barnett's jump shot and see if
It don't even matter if they do.
Oh yeah, I guess. That just means we have to
Just
score.
clamp up on this dude. Clamp up on this. Let him have a 2. I don't care about the 2. Well, let's go. I got the foul. I drew that foul. Yo, let me
Bro, just
dunk on him
let
for the
me
lag.
swing. Alright. No, come on, just go ahead. Just
Yeah, I know.
let's secure the win.
Yeah, facts.
For real?
I don't even care, bro. Everybody quit.
Did everyone quit?
I think.
I'm asleep.
Nah, only. This dude, what do you think he's doing, bro? I block everybody.
Bro, how do you block everyone?
Cause I'm too nice. I got that ice. Hell no. Look, I'm on everybody. No. He's
No, we
selling.
good.
He's selling. All right, I won't try and dunk on people
Who?
like that.
I don't know. Yeah, don't dunk on it.
Just
There we
hit
go.
it.
Game.
Let's go. Is he gonna be back this game?
I'm gonna invite him right now to the party. Alright, bro, how are we like, bro? Jump shot? No, I invited him.
No, I got mad blocks. 3 blocks. 4 assists. Let's get it.
Oh,
Yo, good dub. Bro, since I was lagging, bro, it made me end my stream. Now I have to start it back.
It's all good, bro.
yeah. 3 games.
My fault. My dude was scoring out much of the points.
Bro, KLM, bro, you clutch.
I
No,
know,
it was
right?
Deshaun.
No, but if KLM didn't play that good,
What is up, guys? It is your boy L7 Venom. That was the best intro ever. I already know. And we are trying to streak on 4s. I was green like
no,
that.
we are streaking on 4.
KLM and DB. DB is a 92 overall sharpshooter. Look at his baddies, yada yada yada. Yeah, he's trash. He misses open shots. That's besides the point. We got the best slasher in the world. 80.
Bags, bro.
We got chemistry. Alright, we got Green Like Grass, one of the best glass cleaners in the game. And he has no baddies.
No, correction. He is the best glass cleaner in the game.
Hey.
I just said that.
No, you said he's one of them.
And I'm one of the best shot creators, you already know. Except for some reason I'm missing on my fades. And then, but I got those full court. I got the full court IQ. And then,
I just catch bodies in the paint.
yup.
And I stay getting takedown blocks like LeBron. Yo, I had like 2 blocks in a row on them, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna hop off
Hey,
from the spot and make sure everyone's going away. Leave.
Oh, I think they're trying to become ups.
Get away. They're just trying to sneak it. I see you. What's up? What's up, fam? Get away from me. Staring at me. Get away. Yeah, guys, this is part 2 because the first game, my internet crashed. I kicked out and everything. And so yeah, we're on the 4s.
Yo,
Dude, get away with your
whoever joined, sub to Emblem Designer on YouTube.
Yo, comment your name, whoever joined. Get away from me. They're knocking. Yo, it's no, sorry. I'm on. Yeah, haha. Yo, comment your name, whoever hopped on. Oh, no, sorry, I might lag out. The internet connection quality, not keep broadcast game.
Wait, what'd you say? It's called suffocant.
Yeah, whatever. Suffocant. That's a weird word. I'm gonna see it's like. Who wants? I wonder, what does it say? What's your name? Whoever hopped on. Oh, yeah, yo, comment your name, whoever's in.
Yeah, no, not pretty good. Really good.
I'm gonna throw this in. Excellent.
Go grab me one.
I'm throwing this
I
way.
know, but get me one.
Why ain't anybody gonna hop on?
Cause they scared.
Yeah,
I'd be scared too.
and they're superstars. They try. All superstars. Step back, cash.
That was a brick.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was.
I never did that. I know what you're gonna say. I like these chips a lot. Don't say I like every single chips. Every single one of your bag of chips. First the Cheez-Its. What was the second one?
No, the cheeses are lit
Come
though.
on, hop on the squad, bro.
That's the only thing I don't like about Force. Nobody hops on.
Well, because no, first of all, they scared this time.
Yeah. Because they know
I can
honestly
bet there's
gamers.
at least 5 squads of 4s in this lobby.
We'll drop off mascots.
No.
Mm-hmm. You have to like mascots are good.
Nigga, it doesn't matter what kind of nigga, it doesn't matter what kind of mascot it is. He said, "What kind?" No, it's a Hornets. Oh, he's gonna lose now.
Every Rocket mascot I faced, he's been bad. I broke him. I made a heart.
That's something you don't get. Break it in half. No. We should all go.
No, you can't run
Go
first.
where?
Oh yeah.
Please.
Ooh, you guys play this around right now.
I'll play it.
I never played. Look at my pro am record. That's why I stopped.
Yeah, you probably play with randos.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. We never played a team. Remember we got a team and then it didn't work?
No, we played with the team and then half the team left.
Yeah, everybody left.
Marlon, you're gonna be pissed.
What's up with your park right
You guys just not playing, right? Wow.
2000 law.
He's trash. No, Jay, his record is trash. Don't worry, my record's trash too.
My record's pretty decent. I'm half of what my record. I'm 303.
Okay, what was the message you sent to the group?
We got one person.
Oh.
He was actually at 666%, huh? He was not lying.
Can I read your messages? Can I read your messages? Why?
There's an F you and
I know, I just want to, no, I don't want to read my live, I just want to see them. Marlon. Oh no, we're both gonna get copyright if someone does it.
Never mind.
well, turn the music
Yeah,
off.
turn
and
the
you get
music off, we're
copyright.
gonna get copyrighted. And
I already have like 2 copyright strikes.
no, one time you got a copyright strike for doing nothing.
Ronnie 2K
I'll
and
eat
YouTube
this.
hates me. Cool.
Eat it. Eat the bag.
Can you get off the spot, please?
No.
I was about to say something, but I realized I'm a family-friendly channel.
Okay.
I was about to say. No,
He heard it.
that was the point. I just didn't want my stream to hear it. Again, family friendly channel.
It played through my mic.
Yeah,
Hey,
but
can
it's
you hear
not
it?
my broadcast.
The stream can hear it.
Oh, yeah. Sorry guys, you know, people make mistakes. Yeah, but you should have seen one of Vibes video. Remember he? I'll tell you what it said in it. Hold up, I'll be back.
What percent is your phone? What?
We got 3.
You just put on charger? Oh, we got 3 keys. The spot. Well, yeah, you have on the first one. Let's go. Oh, never mind. Tell me if the game.
I never said that. Show me video. Oh yeah, you're back. No, I didn't. I put that on God and never put that. I put that on God. I would remember if I did that. We're about to face these ones. Alright, we're starting. Thank you. No, myself. Thank you, my man. Your face. Yo, with your haircut and then your. What is that? Oh, it's smoke.
Let's drop them off.
Is it that? The koosh. The koosh. I thought that was koosh. That's mine. It's mine. I got you one. You can give me one. Alright, hand off. No, stop.
Hold it, we both hold it.
Stop. No, you do too much. Ow.
Yo, this is my last game.
What kind of name is A Freak?
What?
His name is A Freak.
Marty, we gotta get to the chopper. Look at that IQ.
No, me and him have IQ.
Again, family friendly channel, so STFU. We're not gonna say it.
Come on, bro.
Wait, I'm trying to get my fruit roll up. Oh.
What was that?
I'm back.
Guess whose man that was?
My mom's.
No, it was yours. Close though.
Caleb, we have to keep our streak going.
What?
That sound
We have
weird.
to keep our chemistry going.
Thanks. I'm not sure. I'm just playing help.
Green.
You
I
ain't
swear to
even
God, I
open.
really suck that.
Yeah, for real.
Did you
Oh,
switch
hell
your
no.
jump shot?
Oh my
Are
God,
you
pass the
kidding me?
ball.
Why would you take that? You ain't a slasher. Yeah, but that's my job to take shots like that, you know?
Yeah, because his actually
It's
go
not
in.
okay. See, look at the IQ.
You're here.
Come on. I'm trying to pass. This nigga's in my way. Oh, look at you forgot something.
What did I forget?
The ball.
Sorry, we just
I'm
need to.
so weak.
He forgot
Here,
his
here.
balls.
I hit you with that screen. Go. My dude just standing there. Like, look at that. The screen assist, the IQ.
No, me and you have
Again,
IQ, nobody else.
I'm the only one
I
who
know.
gets the screen assist.
I had to tell him what to do.
Yeah, which is don't shoot
Sean,
contested.
he's not good at the game.
Yo,
Alright,
hit
so
me,
you
hit
have
me.
to tell him how to do it. I see you, KLM. That's easy. That's the chemistry. Chemistry.
Don't worry. I didn't almost miss it. Calm down. It was all white. I don't know how it wasn't green.
It was all white,
But
just
I
like
made it.
Jacob.
And me.
Now, what happened to family friendly?
That it is family friendly.
Now, someone said, what's your overall?
What's my overall? 71 or
Oh, I
2.
thought
Plays
he
like
missed the
it.
dunks. Yo, KLM, yo, you can hit me up though. I'm gonna pick and roll, pick and roll. Whoa. I had to roll, KLM.
My fault. I didn't even know what I was doing. I was on
Yeah.
Snapchat.
I could hear it.
I was on Snapchat and I still got an assist. What's up with it?
That's a block. Oh my
Oh
god.
my
good
goodness, this dude. Are
And
you
I still
kidding
play
me?
defense. My fault, I saw you, Deshaun. Oh, I'm a saucy.
Oh!
Get off me, I'm
Get off
blood.
the bowl. Get off the bowl.
I need to open my fruit roll up.
I just ripped it off and ate it whole.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm in a game right now.
I did it while I was in the game.
The
That's
thing
what I
about
do,
fours
too.
is you play bad defense, you got a lot of people to help. That's good.
Yeah.
Look, except for that time. Are you... Look, end that time. End that time. Oh my. They
have
are
a-
selling.
They are kind of selling, just kind of. That's all.
And look at him. Oh my. Somebody stop this Shaq.
Court.
Stop the Mr. Shaquille O'Neal over there. Holy crap, bro. I'm done with that. My dude getting rebounds like Dennis Rodman and Shaq.
KLM, hit me. Just wait, just wait.
I'll
got
hit
the
your
clip.
mom.
No, please.
Just kidding.
Get off me.
Calm down.
Don't hit your mom. Don't hit my mom, that's illegal.
This
Nah,
nigga
I
kinda
didn't
got
mean like that.
mad.
I'll slip it in the vagina. You already know how I do.
Bro, it's family friendly.
It's okay. They're gonna learn sometime. That's how you guys are made. Just remember that. It's like health class. Alright, just think of it that way. I'll catch a body in you any day. What's up with you?
I'm pretty good.
Yeah. What's up with me?
Come on, I'll clamp you up. Look at that. It made it hit his head. Maybe that knocked some sense in your brain. Don't take that in. I guess you don't have any common sense.
Wait, hey, Caleb, pick and roll.
I got you. I got you.
I just said pick and roll. Get off me.
What
Layup
in
god.
the world was that?
I'm the
I am
layup god. That was my.
You are
Shut
not
up,
no
Sean, you would've
god.
missed
I can
it.
tell you. I'm just kidding.
Sean, you would have missed it. You can't. Don't say you're wide open. You would have missed it.
I wouldn't have missed that. I'm
Yo,
cash.
Caleb, let's do a pick and
Look
roll.
at that. I block everybody.
Hey. The pass.
Look at me. I stay getting blocks, bro.
You stay getting blocks. Yep. You already know. Bro, we dropping everybody off. Low
Look at me. Look at me. Hey.
Oh, they can do
Hey,
no one
look at me.
Look at me.
Look at me.
Hey,
I can't
we're
get my dick on my
friendly.
Oh, my fault. I forgot it's family friendly. Just remember,
Yeah.
you all have a penis. It's okay.
Again, family friendly. They have to wait to learn about that stuff.
No,
Look
it's
at
a
me
school.
playing that post up DD.
You ain't got no boards though. You gonna let Nair
Who?
get the board? Nair's trash. I hope he watches the stream and 1v1 me, Nair.
Yo, hit me.
No, kill him in the game. Sling it out, bitch.
Ah,
Again, family friendly.
I don't
get
care
off
about
me.
no
That's what your mama said to me in the bed cheeks.
She said it was family friendly?
Yeah,
That makes sense. Yeah, totally.
I know.
And again,
Didn't
don't
think
talk
about it.
about my mom. It's family friendly.
pussy.
Family friendly. I'm okay with that.
Insert.
I don't.
Insert here.
They don't probably know what that means.
If you don't know what insert here means, insert in the hole.
No, they like it from the back.
It up front and back, watching you bless you.
Again, you can't be saying those words on the internet.
Nigger.
Family friendly.
Family. Now you're running back and freaking come up.
Yeah, good job. Frickin'.
Yeah. Fucking. Yeah. That's some good language. Safety. With me? With me? It's a song. Hey, look, I can play it.
No, I've seen it.
No, everybody else is. My parents check my search history on this.
Mine do too.
Spider-Man dick is the name of the song. Why is he choking on a banana?
And
Why are you
how many-
watching
I'm gonna
this?
catch
No,
1, 2,
I
3.
like
I'm
the
gonna catch
song.
4 bodies this
It's a
game
song by
at the
Len-
same
Len-
time.
She look
Fuck me. Daddy better make me choke. Now lick. I wanna eat your dick. I can't fuck up my nails, so I'ma pick it up with chopsticks. Mouth wide open. Yo, I stay rapping these nice songs. Yo,
Why
look
is
at my dude.
her
Look at
things
my
are
dude
showing,
Jay
but she has
Barron.
tape on it. She has tape on the nipple.
She has tape on her titties. She like that.
Of course he
She
would
freaky
know.
like that. I know, cause I stay watching that video. I'm just kidding.
Oh no,
I saw
I've
that
seen
last year. I was at football practice.
Why are we looking at it? Football. Is that like your motivation?
Nah, it was during Hell Week. We were in the weight room, and my dudes were playing the song. I was like, what the fuck is this?
This is mean and it's clean.
I thought this was a family-friendly channel. What the
It is
fuck are you
family
trying to teach?
friendly. His
Sounds
is
like
not
it.
family friendly.
You're gonna get copyrighted. Don't
Yeah.
reach. Don't reach. Just make this nigga move. I'll move you. Oh my gosh, I'm asleep. I love
Why is she drinking out of her?
He stayed. Yo, I forced that turnover. See, it popped up, and then I got good defensive possession.
Alright,
I did
I'm
that
done.
by myself.
Wide open?
Not
God.
wide open.
Okay, now my song's way better.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it
Mine is
is.
straight fine.
Huh, you think yours is, if you think yours is better,
Here. Oh, I'm wide open every time.
He stays not passing.
Ooh, Deshaun, everybody knows.
You mean right here? You gotta know what to do.
I just deleted it from my watch
Look at me.
history.
Look at me.
Go. Yeah, so was I, but you didn't pass it to me.
I'd rather have a 3 than 2.
Right here. Look at you. You over here calling for the ball and not passing the ball. Oh my god. You say it. No, don't give it to Deshaun no more. You over here calling for the ball and then he misses it. And then he gets a turnover and misses.
He got the rebound.
Yo, pick him up right here. Swing it. Come on.
Why is
right
that
here.
not going in?
What is that?
Catching bodies.
I missed one. Shut up, bitch. At least I passed the ball. And I accidentally.
He's selling,
But you
bro.
got a turnover.
Why is nobody on defense, man?
I'm on my man. I'm guarding the banana. I see you, KLM.
What
Oh,
the
that
hell?
was bad.
How did that happen? That was dumb. If I would have caught that body too. This dude can shoot 3, so if I get caught on the screen, yup. Just like that.
I don't can shoot, so no one picks up. Don't fall.
I had my guy beaten.
call for the ball once you open. So I'm just gonna hit X and I hope it goes to you. This jump shot is warm, but it's kind of late. I wish it was a little faster.
I've never heard this song before.
Greens, man.
So much for that. Yo, KLM, hit me. Right here.
Shit. What the
Y'all
hell?
trying to dribble too much.
I wasn't even trying to dribble.
They don't know, now they got a 3-point lead. Get a court. I almost passed it to... Y'all gotta get a court. That's his glass cleaner.
I ain't taking the ball up. I dribble too much.
Do it all the way down court. I passed it to you because you were the only one that came up. And now... That was a bad release. My fault.
Every shot.
I'm not used to my release. I bought in the release and it's only a mid release.
Let's go.
Comment your name whoever's in. Yo, back door. You're probably not gonna end up passing it to me, but yep, I was bad.
Sorry, I actually meant to pass it to you, but I pressed the wrong icon.
You could just hit X and put your left analog stick
Well, I did press X, but I already knew X was gonna go to KLM.
But you shouldn't hold the R1. You don't have to.
I'm saying even if I don't hold R1, X is the closest
Who's
person to
man?
me.
That was mine, but he can't shoot.
Oh.
He only has 0 points. Whose man is the man with all the points?
Yeah, my dude.
My dude, because I can't fucking step up on him every time.
Well, I
Just screen after screen.
always gonna be open in the corner.
Look at it. I screen after screen. My dude doesn't have a lot of stamina.
That's all.
I step out. There we go.
Don't pass it down court. Pass it to someone that's close. I see you.
Why is it doing that, man?
He's doing that because you're driving in and then he's reaching as you're
Who's
driving
in
in.
vibes?
Or he's holding it too. No one.
Oh,
They hit
I hit
left.
just one person.
I see you. Oh, my fault. I saw you cut.
Who, me?
Yeah. I tried to step up. I was too far. We're gonna lose our streak if we keep playing like this. Fat radios. Fat radio. Call for the ball. No one has eyes everywhere. Say something then. I don't mean in the game call. You say after somebody shoots. You say I'm open after somebody.
I'm saying I'm wide open. I'm wide open.
Oh, yeah. That's pickup. Yodu legit about to have all of them. All of them. Oh no, it doesn't let me pass mid-shot. I always try to keep passing mid-shot and it doesn't work. And then I get bad releases. That was mid-range, it would have went in. But I mid-range that. I need to put shots. You're lucky, now your dude isn't gonna get all the points.
I was trying to help his dude. That's the whole point why my dude scored.
Y'all gotta all stop going all the way down court. KLM's the only one that's up, and they keep playing the passing, so they're just gonna keep stealing. Well, he gonna get you every time. Good job going for the rebound, Deshaun.
Doesn't matter if the game's already.
Who lost?
You didn't say no. He took and he got blocked.
GG. Oh no, that's all. Yo, KLM, go around the paint. Don't be at the 3. You're a slasher. Too easy. Yes, it's not. So I miss every time I shoot the ball. I don't like my dude's gonna make the open shot, and plus they don't like to pass to my dude. That's all. Good boy. If we would've made our shots, we would've at least been close. We hit a 3. That we just need 2 more 3s. We've been getting
The
our
reason why
stops.
we've been getting stops is because I'm trying to help KLM guard his guy.
I'm trying to tell you guys not to pass to me, but my shit went out.
Right here. Oh, I tried to pass. Oh, that's water.
I started lagging like halfway through this game.
Well, we didn't know. You didn't say anything.
I said my shit went out. I don't know why it went out.
Oh, we didn't hear anything.
I know.
GG. We could have had a comeback. I went 4 for 8, 2 for 5, 1 for 1.
They weren't even that good.
I'm trying to run 3s. I don't really want to run 4s.
I'm trying to end the streak to get that streak stopper.
But no one can end those streaks since we can't. We'd have to run 4s.
Somebody come up here, end this streak with me.
I will.
Yeah, I will.
Whoever wants to come out here with me.
I will.
Look, these dudes are gonna be ass. Come on, they're on a 1-game win streak.
This is no streak. Oh, are we gonna try to streak?
Yeah. It don't matter. Well, I like going with my friends, going to different parks, ending streaks and shit, so you get that park badge.
Ending streaks? This is not a
You
streak.
can
Yes, it counts as a streak. It's a 1-game streak.
1-game streak.
Oh,
That's
so
a
this
streak.
goes to streak breaker?
Yeah.
A 1-game
streak.
streak? Oh, 2K's dang, that's sad. 2K going.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, it's a streak. Why wouldn't it count towards it?
That's what I said.
I don't know if I'm wrong. I'm just saying. Wouldn't you think that would count towards it?
Yeah, 'cause it's still a streak.
Yeah, it's a streak. It's just not as big.
Yo, wait, I didn't
All right,
see
let's
my
go.
guy was.
We got that chemistry.
He's a what?
Yeah, we got this chemistry, so we ain't gonna lose.
He's a glass?
No, I said he's big. You said he's big, like my dick.
He does not look big.
We got everybody's small. Let's just play him in the paint. Help D, everything
The
you
only
already
thing is,
know.
my dude is freaking fast, and I'm slow.
I don't know what my dude is. That's why I
Oh.
told my
Yeah,
good
get
luck.
that out,
My-
bro.
With my stretch.
I picked up.
For some reason, I've been
I
having
got
like
you.
good dudes. I got boards. We out. Nope. Good dunk. Bro, I don't know
Westbrook
why I'm
package.
getting so many boards.
It's all good. I played help D and I made him mess up his shot. Come on, dribble god. What's up? Wow,
Is he a
hit
shot
that
creator?
in.
Yeah.
He's
Yup.
a shot creator.
I need help on that. They're setting double screens on me.
Yeah. Marlon, you're gonna have to help him with that because I gotta stay on my dude.
Right here. Kill him. We gotta put our chemistry on 3s.
I know.
We only had it on right here. You gotta hit me up on these assists, cause I got mid-range
I'm trying to
Jedi,
get that.
even if they do.
I'm trying to get a foul call so we can reset.
I was about to cut. I see you on the cut. Nice.
We got 5 seconds. Good shot. Good shot. I
Told you
sprinted
I'm
all the way
mid-range
to that
Jedi.
ball. All right, stay in your mans.
I don't even know what he is. I think he's a point forward. Yeah, he could be
He
a
ain't
point
hitting
forward.
Yeah,
Point forwards?
yo.
I see you.
Good screen.
No,
Let's go.
Get it.
Freaking contact.
Legacy, I'm gonna go get it. Well, we should streak on Rivet since Rivet's easy to streak on.
Yeah.
Since there's a lot of
know.
come
Let's
ups.
go.
I got the defense.
Yo, that screen gave me a chance to contact.
Yo.
Let's get it.
Good stuff. Go. We should streak like every day. This is be lit.
Yeah.
We keep playing like this.
It's not hard. I'll just do your assignment. I'm a slasher. I'm supposed to drive to the
My
paint.
fault, I
You're
tried to
supposed
pick up.
It's all good.
Yo,
You gotta-
KLM add me.
I will.
I told you, Hannah. We should run with them. I asked you earlier, but you said no.
I didn't know who he was.
You thought I was trash, didn't you?
Maybe.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
not trash.
a lot of his friends are like good for a little bit and then trash after.
Yeah.
I ain't
I don't know
trash. I'm
why.
consistent.
No, but whenever they play with me, they're trash. I mean, they're good, but whenever they play with someone else, they're trash.
Yo.
And I see you. I was waiting for you to cut. Yo. Right here, cut. But whenever you see me cut, I'm gonna do a backdoor, so hit me. Because my dude never expects it.
Well, I just boosted.
I always
so-
cut in the paint and then I do a backdoor glitch out. I'm gonna try to pick up if he gets close to me.
Sorry, that's
Dang,
my
I
fault.
tried helping you there.
But I could sauce my dude easily. I don't think he has any defense.
Oh, let's get it.
Yo, swing it, bro.
Dang. Were you open?
Yeah.
I thought there was a dude on you. My fault.
Oh, I was about to cut.
On the
But you
screen.
should. Let's go.
All right.
I see you. Right here. Shot clock. Right here. Water.
Get the board.
Oh, there was
Dang it.
shot clock.
Dang, how do you get that board over everybody?
Oh, he has his grand badge. Watch out. He's gonna
That means he
fade.
can dunk on everybody.
No, that means he can fade. The shot creator
grand
grand badge
badge
lets you fade. I'm a shot creator. I'm a shot creator, I know.
Oh, hit that.
Oh, that was a trash release. Why am I selling on my threes? Oh,
Plus,
I
why are
need-
you shooting
I-
standing?
What?
Why are you
'Cause
shooting?
you see my threes. Whenever I fade, they never go in. You want me to? I can. But they've been missing a lot for some reason.
Come on.
Don't take it double contested. You've been taking a lot of double contested shots. That's no. What? Yeah, don't go in the paint no more when it's double contested. Because you've been getting blocked or missing every single time.
We should we should go to House Rules.
What?
We should go to House Rules. Cause me and KLM can both dunk.
And then I have good dunk packages.
Yeah.
Sure, alright. He airborne, I'll see. Go hit me. I want to straight around this dude every time. That's easy.
Well, you
if he
tell
don't
me
block
not to
me.
do it. What
No,
are
I
you
didn't know he was
talking
gonna
about?
block me. If he didn't block me,
Exactly.
that would have been easy.
That's what I'm saying. I'm a slasher. I should be able to take it double contested.
I was gonna cut. I cut. I told you, every
What's
time I
that?
cut, I do a back door glitch and I get my man every single time. I got my man running circles. Oh, my fault. That was a bad pass. Yo, my man double teamed. Uh-oh. Right here. Water.
I didn't know if it was shot clock. I just put a shot up.
I'm switching my jump shot after this game.
Crap.
Green.
You got it.
Yo, comment
Go,
your
we
name.
got this.
Comment your name.
Hell
Why does
no.
everybody, whenever I say comment, they leave?
Did he actually?
Yeah, no, he didn't comment. He just left. Oh, no, I tried to put that up. You had
That's triple contested. Triple contested. I still make it.
That wasn't triple. I was done. Don't try to get broke because we can't afford no. Oh, giving up no three.
Let's get
Good
it.
Yeah,
defense.
give me that. I clamp up.
Even though on threes, you may have 17 on your head. But that's besides the point.
Crap.
I see you. Pick and roll. Oh, my fault. Yo.
I was wide.
Pick.
Alright, my fault. I'm not out of standing. Yo. Stop up.
I couldn't.
They're trying to pass on those because you do. They always double team on me.
That's only
It's a
two.
2.
You need
that
a
was
3. I'm lagging.
Oh, I almost stepped out.
What?
That's why I shot it. My fault. I'm selling so bad. We had such a good lead too. I'm there. He tried to
He
dunk on
sold.
me.
He sold.
We just need a layup. Oh, we just need someone in the paint, but please do not do a contested layup. Come on. I'm not trying to lose this ball. Yo.
Hit that,
You
please.
should have went to the 3.
Yes. No, it's fine. If they get it, oh no, but no threes, no threes.
That's what I mean.
No, but it's better than.
You were deep on the mid range.
Let's get it.
Yes, I told you we should have played it safe. I told you, but you didn't believe me. Because I could have missed the
But all
three.
you had to do is.
But I tend to sell out. Yo, he got the
Let's get it, game.
Little legs.
Yo, we're clutch, bro. We
Where
step up.
I was clutch at that mid. I thought I was gonna miss.
I passed it out.
Yeah, no. Well, I got that. Catch and shoot. That's just my jumper.
Oh.
Yo, we stay ending streaks.
Bro, we starting streaks. Like,
That's how we wrap up quick.
not right now. I'm gonna wrap up soon, but not now.
You're at 95.9. You're gonna wrap up tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna switch my jump shot. Oh, now you're monster faces.
Humble young boy out of DC. Now you're taking shots at OKC?
Should I use Kyrie?
Sure, if you want to.
Kyrie's not. I want to go to the bathroom. I was scared the game's gonna start. Yeah, it's starting.
Humble young boy out of DC.
Taking shots
OKC.
at OKC. You're a fanboy, and I know that. Is it Michael or Rufus the Mole Rat?
Stop. I know where that's
Bro.
from.
I know. Can you stop dissing me? Oh, you can stop DMing me? Oh,
It'll say,
You're
oh,
gonna
yeah.
get dropped
All
off.
those pimples on your face, oh, you know that's the issue. You went to the beach and you begged girls to kiss you. The girls you begged for kisses from to meet at a challenge. Bought a GTR, you said a Boston bro proactive.
I got. Okay, this ass. Oh, no, I'm lagging. Alright, I'm back.
Ooh.
Get off me.
You're a salty fanboy, and I did not know that.
Contact dunk for days.
Bro, can you stop kissing me? No. Bitch, you so fucking gay. Oh, I thought we were gonna switch. Good block.
I was trying to.
I got that. What? Oh, wait, who's guarding who? I'm confused.
Me too.
I'm guarding the athletic.
No, we were
Oh.
switching and we got confused. Now
Yeah.
you can't guard nobody. I got the momentum cross. My fault, Hannah. I saw you call for it. I'd be Stace on.
Oh, I tried hitting you on that roll. I was stuck. Let's
He
go.
can't get blocked. He has never gotten blocked in the game.
They don't even pass to my dude. Jimmy Butler, that's why he don't play for them no more.
Yep.
Nair, I didn't even realize it was this kid. He's trash.
Now you
Let's go.
I have a Jimmy Butler jersey.
He's
IRL
my
or-
favorite player
IRL.
next to Lonzo.
He is. Oh yeah, that's why you have a Chicago thing on your
Yeah.
Instagram.
Fucking love Butler.
That's
I
why
see
he's
you.
playing. That's not a block. That's why he's playing for the Wait, no, he didn't
Timberwolves.
trade. Yeah, Timberwolves. JV. My fault. I tried to pick up. Why can't I hear shoot? Oh, that was it.
I was on the athletic. I don't know why you were.
I was gonna cut back. No, I was crashing the board to get the board.
Look at the playmaking.
Harry jump shots water.
I passed to him, he passed to you, you popped it. That's how it go.
Almost every time. Oh wait, why did it make me go in the paint? Alright, I'm there. You say now
Don't
you're
hit me.
good board. He is snag. The life of a snagger. Oh my fault.
Facts, he's our role player. Y'all
I got
play
the
a good
cut.
role.
Oh. Layup God.
Thanks.
Bro, get the John Wall layup. It's a good
I want
jelly
the
too.
LeBron dunk
Comment
package.
your name once
I
you do
mean,
it. Comment
layup
your
package
name, you
too.
guys. Whoever's in, comment your name. That's a steal.
Let's get it.
Let's
Let's
get it.
go.
That's defense. So it wasn't
He
a steal.
stays
That would have been a
clamping.
travel. He like traveled on the ground. Yo, someone jump, right here. Oh, you had me.
I was getting a contact dunk, man. Dang.
And then
Yeah,
I
I shouldn't have
missed.
passed that out.
No, you had me on the cut.
Yeah, but I was getting a contact dunk. I would have made it.
Oh, you should put it up then if you're going up for the contact.
Yeah, I know. I don't. You told me to pass it out.
Anybody that's open is gonna call for it. Or they should.
Oh, you should have took that in.
Did I get the pass? Alright. I'm making sure.
Ooh.
Good dunk.
The hell off me.
Yo,
Best slasher in the game. Give me
good
that.
steal, good steal.
Give me that.
Oh, nice.
Look at the play, yo. Our chemistry right now.
Hey,
Oh my goodness.
lagging. It keeps saying waiting for opponent. Oh my god.
It's okay. He's
Hey,
selling.
lad.
He's selling.
Yo, I'm back.
Full court passes, no problem.
Full white, come on, 2K. How do they got me some full whites? Yo, watch the back. Oh, never mind.
I'm a cut in.
Well, obviously you're the go in the paint. Hold on, I have to teach you the backdoor push. All right.
Yeah.
Once you get in your court, I'm gonna teach you. Oh, that's too easy. Green. I green that big. Yeah.
I
Green
didn't
that
have to
big.
do shit on offense. Y'all just
Family
took it.
friendly.
My Fredo, green that big. Yeah. Yo, make him travel. Oh, he's back.
He's playing now. Come on now, I'll clamp you all day.
And he set his screens too. That's all. Big jump shot. Ew. Swing it out. Oh. Good dunk. Oh, you trying to dunk on the big man, dude.
What do you mean? That was good. I got the. It's because I was out of stamina.
I don't miss my
I'm
mid.
getting all these contact dunks.
Oh, that's wrong.
Yeah, right.
That's easy. Layup God. Come on. Finger roll.
We're so good at fast break offense.
Oh heck yeah.
Yeah, no one can stop us. No one can stop us. I don't think we've ever been stopped on a fast break.
Yeah.
I mean, we have, just not consistent the whole game. Maybe a stop here and there. Our fast
there.
break offense is killer. Look at that, I got boards.
Yo. Get off my court, Nair. Oh, I tried to call it. Good putback. I don't know how I'm missing this, and I got game point. Alright, I'm gonna stop selling. Oh my god, bro. This glass cleaner got me stuck. Or whatever he is.
Athletic.
I had a feeling. That's like, oh, stop saying screens. Trash athletic. Oh, I hate screens in 2K.
Bro, Marlon, look at the score.
True, I don't know why I'm getting mad. No, but I'm not trying to sell, that's why. Even though it's cool, What? Wait, what am I doing? I can just turn the thing on. I mean, down.
That's turning it up. It's hotter now.
I know.
Oh.
But it's getting really cold, so I don't have to keep turning. I'm gonna put it on. Now we don't have to worry about turning it on and off tonight. Oh, myself. No, you're wrapping up tonight. You keep getting these dubs.
Do you think I'm not repping up tonight?
No, I'm just saying you are.
Who are our opponents? They're short.
Come on, who's next? Who's next? Oh, okay.
Who's doing this work?
got,
Who's gonna get this work? Bro, I'm trying to get my third.
Bro, I'm not even scared when I see superstars because our chemistry.
Yo. What? Why'd you call me?
Alright, see who you're guarding. Got Got your girl in the cut, she too.
He said you're
I'm wrinkly. This fat ass chubby boy, looking like Chubby the Bunny. What you fucking talk about? We broke up, idiot.
What you?
Dang, these guys are nice.
Oh no. I'll call you.
Hey,
I'll
these guys
call
are
you.
nice. We gotta step up this game.
Why did she call you?
I don't know.
You heard? These guys are nice.
Oh, mine got a 97. Oh my god. Please don't have. Oh, please don't have this. That was really risky. If
Bro,
the
I
lockout
always start
playing,
out.
yes, chase the artist. Probably.
I always get them nice dunks out the gate.
Oh, why am I jumping so much? The lockdown, I think, is scared to shoot. If I see these cuts, I'll be picking up, but I never see them cut. Straight around this young boy. Get off me!
Oh,
I told you, every time I do like,
We
it
got-
looks like I'm gonna get dunked, but it never does. Never
we
think
got
I'm
glass
gonna
cleaner. I don't even know what my dude is.
You're never gonna get blocked, not dunked. You know, you've been saying it looks like I'm gonna get dunked.
Oh.
You mean blocked?
I can't
This whole
guard
time
off
you're
the
like,
screen.
oh, you guys all think I'm gonna get dunked. Who's in your stream?
I don't know. I keep telling people to comment, but they never do. Oh, why can I hit these?
That dude's
feel
a
like
glass
that's
cleaner
Kiara.
too. You gotta be careful.
Oh, that's all. He's
Come on, man. Somebody gotta help me step up.
I can't. He's gonna cut every time, and I don't go. It's hard to block lockdowns.
Yeah, I can't. My guy's just gonna cut straight to the paint.
I'd rather have 2 than 3 though.
You go near me.
Let's get it.
Okay, I'll take that.
They got that animation when you try to catch it, but you lose the ball.
That shit's annoying.
I know that always happens to me on my playmaker.
Good shot.
I hope that was gonna go in for real. We just need one stop.
Oh, what the hell?
Cooking.
How did he get around me?
He has all the points. Yeah, this lockdown's gonna start reaching. I already see him.
And especially to me, he's gonna start reaching.
But he's not guarding me. Oh, I have him wide open. Don't be selling
There's a
against
dude
these
on you.
superstars. No, he was playing off. He tried to help.
How am I
He
selling?
tried to help. I said don't start selling.
I'm 2 for 3. So are you.
I said don't start.
Alright, here. Take the ball. I'm not scoring.
You can score. But
Nah,
just
chill
pass when
out.
people are open. Cause I'm guarding a lockdown, so I ain't gonna score if he's all up on me.
Let's get it.
Now, how's that a teardropper? That was a jump shot.
I swear that was a jump shot.
It was. A block.
Wait, whoever's in Vibe stream, subscribe to Emblem Designer because you already know fidget spinner giveaway at 20 subscribers.
Awesome. That's all. Good pickup. I was trying to pick up. That's on me.
Okay, and if you don't subscribe, if I know you, I'm going to your house. I probably don't know them, but...
Oh, I hate lockdowns. They're spam gods. God. Good defense. Oh, come on, this game is so fake. Alright, thank God he missed. I was gonna say, how? Oh, I should have shot that. No! That's water, I faded. Oh, the one time my character fades on accident, he misses it. Come on. The one time I pick up, no switch. Oh my God, I'm so broke.
Wait, I'll give the person who subscribes to me in the stream $10 if they subscribe.
How do you lie?
I'm not lying. Bro, I have $10 right in my pocket. Yeah, I do.
Pull it out.
These shorts are
Hold
$10. Actually, more than $10.
No one's gonna want to buy you, too.
No, I'll sell the shorts.
No one's gonna want to buy them for no $10. I mean, $10 that knows that the person that's in the street. That's why.
I didn't wear them.
You're wearing them right now.
No, but I have underwear under, so it's like not touching me. It's only touching my underwear. And my underwear is protection. When you guys get a health class, you'll learn that. Protection.
I was gonna say, you don't realize what you just said? Alright, what are we doing now?
I thought you said, oh wait, never mind. Ha ha ha. Hold up.
What are we gonna do?
I gotta do something. Alright, I feel better. Ooh.
What's the house rules?
I feel pumped. I gotta do some push-ups.
Yeah, your 3 push-ups.
My 3 push-up, bet. I can do more.
Yeah, 4.
No, I can do 6, 7, or 8.
Congratulations, that's nothing.
How many can you do?
What?
How many can you do?
I'm the push-ups and they're starting a PE. I'm the money one.
No, that's a lie. Push-up test.
Do it right now.
Bet. No, I'm saying push-up test.
What do you mean?
I'm saying
I
you
know.
said, oh.
Do more. See who does more. You go first and
I didn't say I could do more.
You said bet.
No, you said, because you said, oh, you can only do 3. I was like, bet.
Oh. This dude's on Clash of Clans, I'm sleep.
Oh.
Smooth.
Yeah, you're saying smooth to me like I did something.
I know, I never said you did it. Just join me.
Marlon. Hold up.
I lagged out.
Hold up. Add me on YouTube at Emblem Designer. Add me on Snapchat at... Who added me? Ew. At Boss Like Hanok. Add me on Instagram, Bruh Hanok. Add me on Musically. Frick. At Hanok1806. Me on Twitter, Boss Like Hanok.
You said that you didn't have Twitter.
I know, I used to.
How would I go?
If your Twitter's still there, idiot.
I know, I'm saying, what's the point of them subbing?
You can't
That's
sub
like
on
saying
Twitter. You can't sub on
What's the point of them
Twitter.
following? That's like saying you get verified, but you're dead.
I don't
Like, it really
care.
doesn't matter.
Oh, invite
At least
me.
I'm still getting followers.
Just join.
Guys, you should see my dance moves. Hold up.
Oh no, Hanaki can't join me. Cause remember, nobody can see my name. Shake that ass, girl. Shake that ass.
Yeah, I can't join.
Oh my god. Hanaki, should we just go on my career?
Yo, guys, for our next video, me and Marlon are getting our makeup done by my sister. Marlon agreed to it. Actually, we both did.
Should we just go on my career?
And do what?
What? Badges.
No. What the heck? What? What, man? What? I like saying it like that. What? What? No, I was like, what? What the hell? What?
What do you do? Like what? What do you think? What do you think? I done.
No. What the hell?
What the hell?
What the hell?
What in the butt?
What in my top in my butt?
What do you
Yo,
think?
guys, guess what?
What?
These 0 people, actually 4 people, and 0 comments, and then vibes 1 person who's fucking annoying. Actually, fuck it, no more. family friendly. All right. So who the little fucker?
Hannah.
Oh, I don't care anymore. It's bothering me now. I need to say some words. Whoever that. Okay. Hold on, I need to say it. I was gonna say it to you, Norm.
Who? Who? You got his friend request. Yeah, nigga. Yo, you gotta join my court. I don't think. I don't even know who it is.
Send me an invite.
Nigga. How not join me? I stick you in the boy me on blue. Yeah, you
Alright, yo. Whoever's a Jake Pauler is ass.
I'm a low game caller.
Oh, I'm just in the low game.
Oh, and I started liking Jake Paul. I didn't really watch him before.
I'm a low game Pauler.
And why you saying whoever?
No, because I like Team 10, and if you like Team 10, you're part of Jake Paulers. I don't like Jake Paul. Actually, Jake Paul's average. After every day,
I just
bro.
like his vlogs.
Yeah, that's what I like about him. Like Lance, too. Lance, the clickbait motherfucker. But, like, his vlogs are still interesting because, because, I love watching bad acting.
Why do you like watching bad acting?
Because bad acting is lit. It reminds me of, when Jordan acted like he was Chase's friend. Ah! Or like when Kiara acted to be Chase's boyfriend.
No, that's probably for real. Wait, what did? Yeah, they were dating during the wrenching.
Yeah, they were sitting by each other holding hands. Oh.
No, they wouldn't do it. Remember, they wouldn't even stand by each other.
I was sitting by them.
No, I remember in the line though.
No, I'm talking about on the bus. They held hands and they were like.
I thought Kiara was sitting by Jordan.
No.
No, I was on the bus till this town.
Bro, it was like this, bro. I saw this. Look, it was like this, right? Look, it was like this, right? And then
No.
Yeah, it was. Bro, you can even add. Bro, there was something under that blanket.
Oh, and Chase and Kiara snuck each other's cabin and did you know what?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
What'd you do if that was Kiara in your stream?
I'd laugh.
Cash. Oh yeah, Jordan. Jordan's desperate to find out who Kiara likes.
Why does he care?
I don't know, that's my question. Look, you wanna see a text message?
Bro, you guys ready?
Yeah.
Yeah. Look.
Can you guys let me dribble?
I throw down mean dunks.
All those.
Hey.
Yo.
Are we gonna go to house rules?
Oh yeah, sure. Well, we can't go straight to it. We have to go and park then house rules. I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
That's sweet.
No, it wasn't. No, what did you say? No, before that, what'd you say?
Oh, I said I was knocking like 50
No, I heard
times.
you all of those times. It was only like 3.
Bro, when I was peeing, no, this is not real. When it came off the tip, no, literally, like, no, like, it was like going different
That's what
directions.
she said.
No, it was like going different directions. No, like, I couldn't get it, it wasn't going straight. It wasn't going straight, it was going like left,
No homo,
straight,
that's
and
happened
right.
to me though.
Hold up. Oh, my mic is still plugged in.
But no homo, that's happened to me.
Like, where it just
No,
went
no, it was
everywhere.
like this.
No, like, instead of it going straight, it was like,
No, mine went.
like, you know how, like, whenever you, like, hold it in, it, like, hurts? Like, when you hold your pee in, it hurts? You know what it's like, whenever the pee was coming out, no, but it didn't feel like it. It didn't feel like it was coming out. No, like, yo, KLM. Clamps.
Flamps.
No, KLM.
Marlon, I get my 200 followers. I mean, sorry. I can't wait till I get 200 followers today because I'm a great, person. And, I always get followers so fast. And,
You have money on it?
damn it, 50 minutes. And I get 200. Yo,
Calm.
are any of you guys bigger than me on Instagram? Bet no.
KLE me.
Marlon, there was a kid who got suspended at school for liking an Instagram picture. The picture was of an airsoft gun. And then he got suspended.
I don't believe that.
Bro, it's a story on the news.
What?
Marlon,
No, haha. Haha, I blocked you. I just don't want him to hop on.
Marlon.
I got him.
have you ever seen someone who likes to drink bleach? I have. He's like this. And then later he's like, and then he like, Marlon, okay, guess what I'm saying?
2 girls, 1 cup.
Oh wait, I thought it was 1 cup, 2 girls.
Oh.
Well, yes it
Wait,
is.
am I there?
It
Are we
is.
going to house
It's
rules
2
or not?
girls, 1 cup.
No, it's 1 girl, 2 cups.
Too dumb. No, you're doing that on purpose. You're
No.
trying to sit on. Who is this person that's in my street? Bro, we could break the streak. Oh no, it's on 2s. Never mind.
Marlon, where are
It's
you?
on 2s. I hope it's still house rules. Yeah, it is.
Marlon, do you like my walk? Look at my walk. Let me see my walk. Marlon, I think we both just need to get copyrighted right now, so.
No, I want to get copyrighted. Oh, fuck.
Marlon,
I dropped my
family
phone.
friendly right now.
No, bitch. Every day, bro, there's a kitchen of love. I'm alone to bits of clones never done before. There's all the competition, man. PewDiePie is next. Now one puppet. No, Hanak, I got a really good song. Listen. It's by 21 Savage.
He
was a teacher.
Oh, I've seen that.
Start. I'll facilitate you. I don't want to hear no side. 21. 21. Oh, okay, it's a bar.
It's Hanak.
Why don't you let me join it, maybe?
It's a prank. It's a press. I don't want to hear no share. Please let me know pass. I need to use the bathroom.
Marlon, my next video is about to be so clickbait. Makeup on face gone wrong. Went to the ER. Would that be a lit title? That would be a lit title, right?
So much that was great. We gotta stay on the curriculum. The kids are It's
Yo, you in, KLM? Like it says that you're in.
That's the wrong curriculum. We are currently teaching them this. I know it's a lesson, but listen, this is the wrong one. It's just 20 to 1 equals 20. Yeah, this is math on that right.
Bro, what the fuck?
So when I'm not gonna teach start. Wrong, I'm gonna take my five. I'm gonna let it loose at your left. So I don't care.
This shit is so fire.
You took me
Why
off
does
this
Logan
shit
Paul
again.
like to break plates?
Oh my god.
Wait.
Alright, do you guys, should we just, no, let's just stream. I mean, let's just, go on
Wait, KLM.
Park.
Is
What?
okay. Yeah, Logan Paul or Jake Paul?
Neither, they both whack as fuck.
Alright, so both.
No.
Okay, L or P? Wait, no, I mean L or J.
Neither.
Okay, D or F?
Don't fuck.
No, D or F?
The
What
fuck
is D or
that?
F? Don't fuck?
Don't fall?
No, just D or F.
Neither.
What's your favorite letter in the alphabet?
Your mom.
Okay, W. So you like Jake Paul more, alright. He's
They
about to be in
both
jail.
whack. My nigga Rice come stay roasting.
He be staying in dogs. He be staying doing.
Marlon, our diss track should have added something like that. Be like, yo, you eat dogs, and I eat the frogs. And you
look like a
Rice
warthog.
and you look like, and you
Rice gum
sit on the
can't
logs. Wait, what'd you say?
Rice gum can't lose.
He can't what?
Yeah, Rice Gum don't take L's.
You
No.
don't take L's.
What? Why'd you?
What? You just said let's just go
Let's
on
just
park.
let's just join green. Column. Join green, big fella. I said that
Alright,
you
Daddy.
on your court, young blood. You said that you on your court, young blood, young blood, young blood.
I am
Hold
now.
Marlon, you want me to text Jordan saying I found out who Kiara
You the
likes?
young blood here? What are you talking
I
about?
do. You said what?
I bet.
Dropped out of school, now we
No,
done.
we
Rich.
don't.
Dumb Rich.
Jake Paul's not arrested. Then what is this?
What?
Why is
I
he
said
acting
if
now
they
like
you
charge
show
him,
up-
he's gonna get
you show up
arrested.
on my friends list now.
Why isn't he acting like it?
Because he thinks that because the Team 10 bus crashed, and he thinks that the neighbors tried to kill him. What was I gonna say?
Oh, you stay cocking back.
Oh damn, this bitch posting a picture of her ass. Hemlock, look. Oh look, wait. No, you missed. Hemlock, you faggot.
Bang bang. Y'all wish you could pull up.
She had a picture of her ass.
What do you like? Bro, you want to see something like that? Search up Summer Rae.
Oh, I know who she is. It's the model and Jake Paul, I mean the Team 10.
No.
No, Rice Gum. The
Yes,
house.
so
Look
you
up,
know
look up
Tanner.
Molly
Tanner
Escom.
Fox is Wait, Molly Escom. I know who that is. I'd
That's a
smash.
ruggy girl.
I'd smash.
Who?
Molly Escom.
Molly Escom.
Look, Summer Rae is the model.
What do you mean?
So is Molly Escom.
Yeah, I know that. That's what I was saying.
I've been following her.
That's not Summer Rae.
Who's Summer
Not the
Rae?
WWE superstar.
There's two Summer Raes. Which one?
Could you like finish spelling it?
How about Anna Cherie?
R-A-E.
You know who Anna Cherie is?
Let's see if, I don't know. She has 15 mil on Insta.
Who?
People. Summer Rae. Look, I can't even show you. It was on Rice Gum's vid.
Oh, is this her?
Nope. Hold up.
Ah. Who am I supposed to be joining?
Summer Rae. Green.
Okay, good talk.
Summer Rae.
That
Summer Rae.
bitch good talk. Bust on that bitch like good talk. Who the fuck am I supposed to be joining?
Green.
Like that.
I know. I heard you. Calm down.
SOMMER. Yeah.
This one? Damn, she posted a picture of her ass.
You
Hold up,
follow.
Zedgy Sinclair book, 20 years old fitness. That ain't no fitness, that's just ass. Why is she just posting all pictures of her ass? Like, look. Damn, that bitch got cheese. Well, look, it's like hanging out.
Alright, let's search on Molly Escom.
Is she?
Yeah, M-A-M-O, sorry. LL. Yep, and then, yeah.
Oh, that bitch. Oh, shit. Who is she?
She's a Face Drugs girl.
Oh, she looked like Sniper Wolf in this picture. You know who
Yeah.
Sniper Wolf is?
Yeah. Look at, I would have been great at the high jump. Look at this.
How did I get before you? No, you're not. You don't even get it past what I got. You don't even know. It's like this.
We should go and start a movement.
It's a bird. It's my mom. It's my dad. Bro, let's go 1-3s. We can end the streak. Oh my god. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. We can end the streak. We can end the streak. Hurry up. All superstars too. It's in the streak, oh god. Come on, come on, we're gonna break the streak. Come on.
Alright. I'm in.
Yo, come on. Join my party. Join my squad.
Alright.
Join the squad. We're gonna break the streak. Okay, let me set fuck. Come on, wait. Come on.
Oh, we can't do it anymore.
Why?
Look who's on. It's 3v3 already.
Oh my fucking god.
For
Kayla,
real?
you fat piece of shit. Well, Kayla is a fat piece of shit.
Marlon. Summer A or Molly?
What the fuck wrong with you, kid?
Nigga, what the fuck is wrong with you, nigga? You started with your black
I'm sorry,
ass.
we like cake.
Bro,
Yeah,
you
nigga,
like
you look like this.
2 years old. Calm down.
I ain't 2. I'm 14. What you talking about, nigga?
Bro, you sound like you're 8.
Yeah, I didn't have my. Yeah.
You do sound like that.
Yeah, everyone it says that.
You do though. It's not,
Not
just
in
them
real
saying
life,
that.
though. Not in real life.
Yeah, you sound like you're maybe 9, 10.
Stop.
I
In
don't
real
know.
life,
You
11.
sound like you maybe 6
If
years
somebody,
old in real
if
life.
someone closed your eyes and heard you, no.
No.
Hold up, stop.
My dude, my 2-year-old brother got a deeper voice than
10
you.
to 9.
Bro, no,
10 to 9.
everyone, like, I've seen, like, all my barbers and stuff. Oh, you're
I've seen
12. Oh,
10 to
you're
9.
13. Oh,
Because your height.
Yeah,
no,
right.
not because of my height. Not because of my height.
Really?
Not because of my height. Because I'm always
How
sitting
tall
in
are
the
you?
chair. I'm 5'1". Or actually 5'1", 5'2".
Oh my goodness, I'll dunk on you in real life.
I'm not fucking. Alright, let's hop on the spot. Fuck this nigga.
I'll dunk on you in real life.
He's white.
Cool. Oh, he's white? Oh, never mind.
I'm white, I don't give a fuck.
Hold up, you sound black as hell.
Yeah.
Do I actually?
You sound blacker than
He's
Vibes
he's
t-shirt.
He's like Andrew Jenkins.
No.
You
Andrew
think
Jenkins
he's
sound
black?
white as hell.
He sounds white, but he is. He tries to act black. Come on. What's up with the squad with this faggot? He wish he got hoes.
I jump like I'm black.
Sorry.
Okay,
Sorry.
and I jump like I'm Superman. Fucking.
Oh, if you jump, no, sorry. If you jump, like you like, for example, Michael Jordan, then I
feel like frogs.
no. If he jumps like Michael Jordan, I jump like Superman.
Frog.
No.
I already said that, you bitch.
I can say whatever I want.
No, you
Fine.
can't,
I
bitch.
jump like the Hulk.
Well,
What the
I
fuck?
kinda.
Hulk got hops.
Yeah, that's what your mom said when she looked at you when you were born. Oh,
Facts.
I suppose this nigga. He said facts.
It was his dad too.
You know what's
said
even
facts.
worse? My mom was on pills. She didn't want me. She thought she went in the bathroom. She thought she was taking his shit, but I came out.
Wait, so you were born in a toilet?
Hell yeah. Nobody fucking.
Oh, that's
wants
why
me
you like
let
to
me
drink
in the
toilet
fucking
water.
bags. I stay drinking that shit.
It's my strange addictions. Dirty, yeah.
That's not even strange. It's normal in my household.
Wait, what the fuck? Y'all must not be able to afford water. Y'all must not be able to afford
Yo,
water.
wait, how old are you?
Nah, listen, we live in that cardboard community. What's up with
Nigga,
you?
white dude, how old are you?
I'm 15,
Alright, what height?
5'11".
I smack you in a 1v1.
I'll smack your mom in a 1v1. What's up?
Nigga, she don't ball. She likes balls,
she
but she
ball,
don't.
but
She,
mine does.
nigga, you balls too hairy. She won't eat that.
Like, I fucking shave my shit.
The only dude
What
to
you
shave
shaving? That must hurt. That must hurt.
I stay clapping your mom's cheeks on this dick.
She don't got cheeks.
Yeah, okay.
How you gonna lay down
Not lying
lies?
about
You say facts, but you don't lay down lies.
it. Thank you. You just helped me out there.
If you were on your test and you say facts. No, if it was fact or opinion in the subject, you would
This
be.
nigga
You
like
would
the
get F.
cash nasty that can't ball. Facts, facts, facts.
Bro, you missing shots. Facts.
Oh, Cash
I'm
Nasty is
7'3",
my
7.
nigga.
This nigga, the type of guy to be in a rap battle and say facts.
He's white. He's white and said nigga.
Wet like water.
Like how I made your girl last night.
Hell no,
Wet.
that was me. I was drinking that shit.
But you can't even get in it.
I've been
That's
in it.
weird.
I stay in
I
it.
swim in it, bro.
No, you on the shore.
Wait, you're racist. I hope you know that.
I opened that shit and I scuba diving your mom's pussy. What's up?
You're
It's always
you're,
closed.
Yo, you know you're racist, right?
Yeah,
Oh.
racist faggot.
You said nigga.
So?
You're a white piece of shit.
Give a fuck?
What? Yeah, I do.
Nigga, we all know white people can't jump.
And we all know white people should be saying nigga.
I
Nigga.
break
Yeah.
the system.
Nigga, name one white person that dunks
They broke
really
the
good.
streak. They broke the streak.
Really?
Did they? Oh no, they didn't. They dropped them niggas.
Wait, name one white person who jumps up in the air. Beside that, yeah. No.
Bird.
Larry Bird do not jump in the air.
I know.
This nigga can jump
Vince
1
Carter.
inch off the ground. He's mixed.
Larry Bird got hopped.
Yeah, Larry Bird like. Wait, Rick Barry.
Rick Barry did not.
Kristaps
I'm talking about
Porzingis
jumps up.
Like Vince Carter.
Vince Carter's mixed, yes.
I know you said jump up.
Yeah.
That's why I said
Yeah,
like
like
Vince
some
Carter.
Vince Carter. Yeah.
Kristaps got
Kristaps
hopped.
nigga
What's
don't
wrong
need to
with you?
jump. He puts his hands
But
up
he
and dances.
does.
No, he doesn't. He jumps out 1 foot.
And that
Are
let's
you
get Street
retarded?
Breaker Hall of
You're
Fame.
retarded. You're like
You must
three.
be
I shouldn't be
retarded.
arguing with you.
Bro, I shouldn't be arguing with the 15-year-olds who don't got facts.
Well, how are they on a streak? Look at the overall.
Wait, who am I guarding?
I'm guarding a 90 chart.
87
36
point.
streaks for him. Oh, but
gonna
they
get
got park
worked.
badges. What?
I'm only gonna get worked.
I don't know why though. This kid looks like he's shot though.
Calm down.
Oh no, I'm singing a song. Like we can gather around the campfire and sing our
What?
campfire songs.
That's why
Oh,
they
the
on
game's gonna be
phone.
like this. Fuck their 12-game win streak, nigga.
Fuck you.
Fuck you, bitch. Fuck you, I don't want no ravioli, nigga. Good pickup.
Facts.
This nigga ain't gonna miss. Yeah,
That's
neither
your
am I though.
fault.
Nigga, that's your.
You ran the fuck
Oh
out of
my
bounds.
god.
You
Why?
stay doing that every game.
Yeah, that's true. No, that's so
Because
true.
2K hates me. They always give me no borders. Ah, normally they do.
Oh,
Little
look
piece
at
of
you.
shit. Hey, he didn't shoot it though. He's too pussy.
He just shot it.
Nigga, no, he did. That was a my dude. Did.
Bruh, who you talking about?
You ugly ass boy. Mr. Facts. Damn, so ugly ass boy.
Nigga, Kristaps Porzingis can jump.
Porzingis God. You're Porzingis, you'd be able to shoot threes. You niggas can't guard me. Look at this, run straight around this black ass boy. Get off me, boy. Come on, bro. We got sharps. These niggas are sharp. I'm sleep, coach. Good defense. This nigga a baby. But I don't let a sharp set a pick on you. Come on now.
That's how you know you ass.
Those are sharp, nigga. Come on, mayonnaise, step up.
Marlon, it's not mayonnaise, it's pasty white dude.
No, it's cracker.
No, that's what they like to eat.
Oh yeah. No, Ritz. That's
Oh
what we
yeah.
like to- Right here. You.
No, we
fat
like to eat
piece
that
of
fried
shit.
chicken.
No, that's what we like to eat.
I just said that.
Oh, I thought you said that's what they like to eat.
No, they're the opposite. They eat their little 3 kinds of cheese
Same.
and then some ravioli.
That's cool. But I'm about the sauces, nigga. Even good.
You go step
Really?
out.
No, I'm not, nigga. I'm a god. I don't step out of bounds no more. Nigga, guard me, bitch. Bitch. Guard me, bitch.
You would never be good as a superstar.
So I will, bitch. Is anybody...
I had to try and help with yo dude.
I'm gonna have sauce session part 1. Skirt, nigga can guard me, coach. Oh, that's it, posterizer. Oh, come on, this nigga.
And you, nah.
What the heck? 2K got me missing layups, coach. 2K got me missing layups, coach.
No, I'm running it back.
Bro, 2K got me missing layups, coach. Hey, I still dropped more than he dropped on me. Oh no, I didn't. I only dropped 3 more points than me. Fuck him. Jeez, cheese. Sup, bitch. Stupid
No, it's
bitch.
like, what's up, bitch ass?
What?
Marlon.
Let's go, bitches. Bro, let's go court treat. Oh,
No,
no.
let's run it back.
Bro, these niggas drop us off every time.
I don't
the whole
care.
Team can shoot. We're just giving these niggas free rub.
Nigga,
key.
do I look like I care? No. And you can look at my face too. I don't care. He's not running it back. I don't think so.
What the fuck are you getting on?
Well, I did on. Could I make my account with my video?
This nigga gonna ditch us. I'm asleep.
Take mad long.
It's not my fault. You didn't want to.
It's not my fault, your ass.
Expose him.
Yeah, I'm better than you. I'm a 72 glass.
Yeah, 6 shows.
David don't take showers. Why the fuck is he getting one?
Safety. Safety.
Bro,
Safety.
I don't even take showers. Fuck that.
That's why. That's how you know
Your
you
girl gives
dirty.
me that showers. Facts, bro.
Again, every time you say facts, it's a lie.
Bro, I got like these little 8-year-olds in the mic. My fault.
Hello, love.
How long does it take? How long? You gonna take a 5-minute shower? Or is it gonna be 25 minutes? You gotta beat your meat yet. Alright. Don't watch porn.
That's me every night. You already know.
I stay watching porn though. My fault.
You already know. That's what we all be doing.
Yo, what kind?
But that's the website. That's lesbian.
I
all
watch
day.
that gay porn.
Oh, I watch that lesbian. Lesbian's the best.
Alright, call me when you get out the shower, or you can call me in it, daddy.
Wait, what? Did you say you can call me later, daddy? Bracket sauces, dude. Look at
Bro,
Cankles.
y'all stay talking shit. Y'all are annoying.
And y'all stay gay. You're fucking boy.
Especially when someone's in the shower, you'll say, "Hey, daddy."
Exactly.
I get if it's in public.
Little dimes. Look at him. Break this nigga ankles, coach. Look at him. He's going the other direction. He pulled the one direction, young blood.
Why are you passing? Why are you
Right back
passing?
the ball. What
Why'd you
X,
pass
we're out
that?
of bounds.
Why'd you pass it to me? Icon pass.
I hit X. I don't icon pass.
Why?
You're the only one that icon passes. I don't icon pass.
Yeah, that's why you always get incomplete passes.
No, I don't. I never get incomplete passes. I always step out of bounds, but I don't get incomplete passes.
No, when I mean incomplete passes, you always pass it and then they always get the ball stolen.
That's not incomplete.
I know, that's what I'm talking about though.
You just said you always
No,
get incomplete
I'm talking,
passes.
yeah, I'm saying you get incomplete pass. I'm not talking about one of those count as an incomplete pass.
What do you mean by incomplete pass?
I'm saying, incomplete pass is when it doesn't go through.
What do you mean?
Oh,
You
like
said
for
no,
example,
because when I said
no,
you
because
said
you'll be.
whatever you count.
I don't mean incomplete as like the definition of it. I mean like you don't.
It's not incomplete if
No,
it's not
I'm saying
the
you're not
definition.
passing it to the person that you mean to pass it to.
I don't icon pass.
But
You
I'm saying,
icon pass.
I'm saying if you want accurate,
Oh no.
if you want accurate
Pick up my bar.
passes,
Pick up my
icon
bar.
pass.
But it's not accurate. I just normally move my left analog stick towards where I want to pass, and it passes it to the person I want to.
But
But I
sometimes.
didn't know you were out of bounds. You should have said that you're out of bounds, and you should have said don't pass it.
Why would I have to say that if you just look?
I didn't know, because I was hitting X because I saw he was stepping up.
Next time I gotta say just look.
Or just say that you're out of bounds, and I wouldn't have to look.
I was getting inbounds. I didn't think you were gonna pass it.
I don't think you're going to be out of bounds. That's why I passed it. If you would have said you're out of bounds, I would have icon passed. But you never said that you were out of bounds. So that's why I didn't icon pass.
But you just said you don't even icon pass, so you wouldn't have icon
If
passed.
you say something, I would. I don't normally icon pass, but if someone says something, or if I'm trying to give it to someone specific, then I icon pass. Like whenever we play a ball, I icon pass.
But whenever we're on fast
icon
breaks,
pass.
you're always like, oh, sorry, I was supposed to pass that to you because you're not icon pass.
That's just sometimes. That's not every single time. Normally I give it to the right person. Me and Cameron, fourth, I always gave it to him.
Yeah, I'm not talking cool fours. I'm talking about threes and twos. Well, not twos, but threes.
I don't want to do a post move. This is post moving you left and right. Drop it. That's all.
Why'd you hop off?
I'm bored. I'm playing career. I'm making a slash.
The only way you're gonna be good with him is if you upgrade his layups and dunks.
No, I'm not gonna use him until he's ready to go to park. I'm never gonna go to park with a player without badges.
Still, I'm just saying, most of the badges you're not gonna get without the attributes.
I know. Obviously, I'm gonna upgrade it. Let me guess, you're gonna hop off onto your All-Star too?
Maybe, I don't know.
Not hop off, but I mean like not play park. Why don't you grind on my career? Since the brick wall isn't too hard, and then
I just don't want to.
putback king isn't hard. Rake start is probably the easiest for you.
Oh.
Why do I have my league on here?
Because
Delete.
my league goes on to that.
I'm not trying to delete no one important. Alright, I'm making a play. I'm gonna make a speed boost in stretch. What should I make them? A shooting guard or a small forward? Are they only small forwards?
No,
Or are they shooting guards too?
shooting guard, small forward, point guards. Mine's a point guard.
Make them
No,
shooting
mine's a
guards.
slash. Mine's a slash. Mine's a small forward.
Which one should I make him?
Your choice.
6'5" can speed boost. And these badges will be finally easier, so I don't have to grind like that.
Once you get your layups and dunks maxed out, it's gonna be good. But if it's like how it is now, you're not gonna make anything.
If it's on rookie, I can.
No, still for posterizer, you're not gonna get any posterizers.
All you need is dunks, isn't it? I thought it's 15 dunks.
No, you have to have your layups and dunks to a certain thing.
No? I thought it was just 15 dunks or 15
No, yeah, I'm
layups or
saying
something.
that, but I'm saying it's gonna be hard to get that when you have nothing, because you have to have like you don't have to have, but to get contact dunks, you have to have like a certain dunk thing.
Oh, I know that. Cause you can't. No, you don't have to, but it's more likely for it to happen if you max it.
But I'm saying for it to count toward posterizer, it has to say contact dunk.
I'm switching it up.
Has to say contact dunk and then slam dunk.
I should have how to get, and then it's like how to get a girlfriend.
Something you need.
Hi guys, this is gonna be your boy Elson the Venom, and I'm out. Peace.
What it does, man, it's worth some battles because freaking 2K video, man. I'm just gonna cut from
LNU's 19. LNU's 19. I swear he was 14. Wasn't it short? Oh, his birthday is a month off. When do you see this? Oh snap! My game. Humble young boy out of DC. No, you're taking a shot. They never started doing that. A57. Humble young boy. Humble small boy out of LA. Humble big boy out of DC. Now I'm taking shots at OKC. Huh? I didn't even shoot my analog. I shot with square. Oh no, but I usually, if I'm using like a shooter, I always shoot with my analog. Good switch.
Now I have 4. Thank you. Wait, hold up. I can go in a court.
You're not gonna go into a court, I think.
Why am I going in a court? Is it supposed to do this? Oh my god, I never go through this again. Shut up, Justice. Why can't I skip this? This should be skippable. Why does this should be like a secret? Yeah. Nobody cares about this. No, I don't want to see Kobe airball. I don't want to see Kobe getting injured.
Only you.
Your buns go in and airballs. At least in the net. Kobe's a ball hog.
No. You guys don't know how to help.
Why does it say Tayshawn online if he doesn't even, why do you even say something online if they don't even have PlayStation Plus? And he tries to call me. This dude is not a PlayStation Plus user.
Dang, he a back scratcher and
Wait,
let him.
D-Lo played with Kobe?
What?
D-Lo played with Kobe?
Yeah, 2015.
Kobe
Duh.
retired in like 2013.
Oh, he retired in 2015.
Was he good?
On his last game, he scored 60 points, but that was his only like good game from that.
Like of the season? Last game of the season?
Yeah.
In the finals?
No.
Oh, they didn't make it?
No. Did the oh no, the Lakers made the
What about the playoff?
no.
Yeah, please, somebody skip this.
This year it's not going to be Cavs versus Warriors.
How do you know?
I just know by the teams in the East it's not going to be Cavs versus
Because
Warriors.
the Warriors are gonna make it.
If you think the Warriors aren't gonna make it, you must be retarded. And that you must be retarded. You talking to me? I said this. I said you must be retarded if you think they are. If you think they.
Oh, I thought you said you want to be retarded if you think they aren't.
I did.
You think that they're gonna make it?
Duh, to the finals? You must be crazy. Name one team that's gonna beat them.
The Cavs are obviously. Because obviously the coach and then LeBron yelling at his teammates. If
No.
Kyrie leaves, then they're not gonna.
Well, the Warriors have proved they can beat the Cavs, and the Cavs have proved they can beat the
Cavs
Warriors.
prove that they can beat the Warriors. Who will come back? That proves that they can.
Not with KD though.
What?
Not with KD. You think Harrison Barnes is close to KD?
I mean, obviously he's doing good all season, but he might be trying to next year.
Who knows? No, and then no, I'm saying Warriors, and I'm saying in the East, not Cavs. I'm saying Celtics. Celtics, because I think Celtics, because if you really think about it, if you think of the comparisons, Celtics win the comparison. Gordon Hayward. Yes. And then who else is there? I'm trying to think. Who else? There's Al. Yumble Hung Boy. Out of CD. Now I'm taking shots at KCO. Yo, who's the little Fruit Loop nigga named Nigga Bean? And his fans are all under 15. What would you do if Hank the Tank joined my lobby? You wouldn't care? I would. I'd play against him. How about Pretty Boy Fredo? Would you care then? Oh. Who's your favorite 2K YouTuber? What about if your favorite 2K YouTuber was at the MyPark? Would you join it? I'd face him. I like facing everyone who's like good. Like Jay Savage, all the 3 top rep players, I'd face them. Huh, what? What? No, I'd put up a good fight. Yeah, I would. Oh, Jay Savage would get crossed up. Bro, Jay Savage don't know what he's doing.
Do you even know what players he has?
Yeah, I do.
Name one.
99. He's a
Name at least one position.
How am I supposed to know? Oh, point guard.
He uses a glass.
But he has a point guard.
How would you know?
Huh? Because I saw someone in his lobby and they took a screenshot and it said point guard by his name.
He mainly uses a glass. He has a YouTube channel and he streams on it.
Does he have a lot of subscribers?
No. It's like a dead YouTube channel.
Oh.
When I was in the game, he was using his 99 center. He uses
We had a 99 center in our game? He was a SS5. I said SS5? Turn it off then.
Oh, but then it gets really hot. I want it to be too hot, but I don't want it to be too cold.
I'm doing my sister's makeup after this. I kind of want to sell. Nah.
Just quit the game.
Nah.
Oh, no, you're gonna lose, right?
Yeah.
I think I'm supposed to. What's your percentage?
97.9. I mean, 90. Yeah, 97.9. Or
You
no.
got an A plus and a W.
No, it's not 97.9. No, because I was at. Can I check right now or no? Fluff. Have you seen how LaMelo Ball does bench presses? He goes like,
You like
yeah. He lifts up.
he breaks this up.
Yeah.
Oh, I should have made a point guard. I'm not gonna get the ball and the pass. Give me the ball. I'm trying to go for a contact. Send screens. I go right around this. Now cross you up. Skirt, skirt. The heads is dead. Hey, get off me. No way! Try. Hey, whoa. That's it. Come on now. You just steal. Come on now. Come on now. First bag I'm gonna get is pick and pop.
Pick and pop it? Pick and pop it. Yeah, let's pick and pop it.
You know the easiest archetype to get all their badges is?
Yeah. Isn't it lockdown?
I don't even know what badge is post-stores.
I do. Oh, their grand badge?
Obviously.
Upgradable badge. Ooh.
Oh, I know one.
What is it?
Oh, spin technician.
Yeah. Maybe dream like up and under.
I think every single archetype has one badge that's upgraded. I know, but what archetype has acrobat? It's usually the slasher, dude.
Oh yeah, I know.
What?
Athletic finisher, I think.
Oh yeah.
No. I think it's something else.
Acrobat. Well, no, but no center is gonna have acrobat.
That's what I'm saying.
They ain't gonna be doing jellies and stuff.
And I know it's not lockdown, cause they make
Oh,
that
lockdown?
cheese.
Lockdown?
Not a playmaker.
Get off me, young blood. That's easy for me.
Not a shot creator.
If I win in park, I actually wouldn't be that bad. I just have to take open threes. I can't do nothing. Your sister's probably gonna try to run it from that.
No, she actually tries to make us look good, but it always looks bad. Well, how do I have a C?
Rocky can't go failing, bro. Set a pick, bro. That's easy with it. And one of those finishers gonna be easy, so all I need is layups. Stop out you. It's too easy out here. Hey. I just can't wait till I buy a VC. My sucks. Is there a $10 VC card?
No,
What?
no,
Is there?
no. I just said no 5 times.
What are you saying, like?
I said no.
Because you have your headphones on, so you probably don't know how loud you speak.
But we're in the same party.
No, I left.
Oh.
And I unplugged my headphones anyways. Good screen. I wish AIs could actually set.
The sad thing is I'm selling and we're still winning.
Are you gonna hop off?
Yeah.
You don't like it 2 minutes?
No, I just don't want to play. I'm about to drop off these superstars.
That's great, you idiot. Oh no. I like these.
Cash.
They're fun.
When have you ever used another slasher?
What?
When have you ever used another slasher?
Once. Over at my sister's mom's best friend. And they've been friends for a while, so we basically count her as family. Or my sister counts her as family. And so I go over there at least once every 2 months. His name's Kobe. With the K. He plays 2K. He's
Really?
a lockdown, a shot creator. That's all I know. He's lockdown as a shot. I'm about to post right now. Oh, why are you playing the 3, you idiot? I'm just gonna just make it back.
What'd you say?
So I'm gonna do my sister. Your sister's back.
You have to wait. Marlon, where are you going?
What?
What'd you say? I said, where are you going? Oh. No, I was just asking. I didn't know. Oh, I took one shot. That was a 97. 90? Yeah. 92%. That's it, nigga. Peace. Wait, hold up. Pass. Peace, fam.